From Champaign, Illinois, this is the Jumping the Rail podcast with your hosts Mark Redmond and Mike Narge.
And welcome to episode 21 of the Jumping the Rail podcast, coming to you live from Champaign, Illinois, here on Facebook Live. This is Mark Redmond, and I'm supposed to be joined by Mike Narge, but he came in about 8 minutes before we went on and dropped his belt on the table and said he was out of here. But I think we got him back. Narge, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good. Call me the mini boss. Dead air? What are we doing? Oh, now we're going. Are we still going? I'm still Narge. I'm still here. Still the mini boss.
Yes.
I like that shirt you have on, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Describe it for the listening public.
So for the folks, it talks about Tequila Narge's Bar and Grill, live from Muhammad, Illinois. You can pick this fantastic T-shirt up, plus many other designs, at ProWrestlingTees.com/JTR
Pod.
Mark has bought every item we own. He is very much a mark for himself. Mark is a mark.
Hey, I'm a walking billboard, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. And Marko has a Jumping the Rail wrestling podcast. I'm the only one without a
shirt?
Well, I have a shirt on. Otherwise,
Well,
the ladies
obviously.
would be. The milkshake brings all the girls to the yard.
Thank God it's an audio-only medium.
I have the Club Danhausen shirt on. My boys were so excited to see this. I got cursed by both the 4 and the 2-year-old from their little Hot Wheels Jeep in the front yard before I left. So,
Yeah.
double cursed.
You didn't curse them back?
That Murray
Well,
has
I did, but it's not appropriate what I said.
That Murray has a cursing problem.
Ah.
All right, so we got a big one today, Narge.
I got a big one every day.
Easy.
Oh,
I was wondering when
That's
that
the
was going
Corona
to come up.
talking. So
Yes,
we,
that sip he's had.
so if you followed our post today, you saw what we got on deck for today. And number one is our guest is calling in about a half an hour, Narge. Wrestling journeyman, legend, Mr. Technical. They called him the winner, Barry Horowitz.
you heard that noise?
I do. That's for those listening. That's Narge patting himself on the back.
That's patting myself on the back. That's not that. It's not that kind of show.
I feel like we failed because neither one of us is wearing suspenders.
Oh, or a Jerry curl.
Well, we don't have much control over that. But
Or hair,
well, that's you're right on the ball as always, Marko, with the jokes.
you know.
All right, I'm gonna turn this down.
Hello, Dwayne, for being number one again. Hello, Hammer, and hello, Minders.
Dwayne's always number one.
I think Dwayne was on before we were.
That's probably true.
He popped early.
And since he asked earlier, Narge, we might as well get into the elephant in the room, and that is what happened last night at the arena for Monday Night Raw.
I didn't even watch Raw, and I know what happened last night. So it's obviously very big
I didn't
deal.
watch Raw, and I have no clue what happened.
Well,
Please tell.
Let me bring you up to speed here. So the main event was scheduled to be a 6-pack challenge for the number one contendership to the women's championship held by Bianca.
Yes.
It was supposed to be Becky, Asuka, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Nikki ASH, and Doudrop.
Correct.
About the everybody shows up at the building at 1:00 p.m. Eastern time, as is their rules, and I guess from the time they got there, Sasha and Naomi were very unhappy with something. Nobody, I've heard a tornado of different theories and opinions, but long story short, at about sometime after the show had gone on the air, they walked into talent relations ace
Johnny Ace.
And
Johnny Bella.
They put the women's tag team championships on his desk, took their suitcases, and just got the fuck out of there.
They took their ball and went home.
They took their ball and went home, but not with as much panache as Steve Austin did in 2002.
Or as much pull, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. But
I think Sasha thinks she has the same pull.
well, yeah, she's a mark for her own gimmick, I guess.
Well, this isn't the first time that Sasha's kind of done something questionable by the fans or even by the company. I mean, we heard back a few years ago at WrestleMania where they were in the locker room on the ground throwing a fit. I don't remember which one it was.
I think it was Sasha, if I'm not mistaken.
Sasha,
it might have been Bailey.
And then they came out and said they didn't do it. But now with all of this that happened yesterday, it makes me think that maybe something did.
Right. So, but then over the course of the show, number one, Becky did a segment with Adam Pearce saying that they had left, so there was no main event, trying to play it into an angle. So that wound up being the main event being Becky against Asuka.
Is that a main event you want to watch?
It was a good match.
Was it?
I thought so. I mean, they were given.
I'm not trying to be sexist.
Considering that they were, that's what they were handed. You know, they kind of made lemons out of lemonade. Did I say that right?
I don't want to get off on it. Did they really have a Cody countdown last night?
They kept a clock for when Cody came out.
Are they trying to make him a heel already? Because that'll do it.
I think they're trying to make him a bigger star than he is.
Yeah, that's going to make him a heel. They might as well bring Brandy out.
They may, but to be fair,
back to the
to be fair, it was a good promo that he cut. So they're going to do Hell in a Cell, him and Rollins at the paper.
And then we can move on with our lives.
I would hope so.
After Cody's beat him for the third time.
Right. So where was I?
Dewdrop.
Okay, so
No.
one theory that came out, and like I said, everybody's tweeting their opinions, dirt sheet writers, fans, people that may or may not know the parties involved. Some people are saying that they didn't like the creative because Naomi was supposed to go over in the match. So she was supposed to be the number one contender to the women's championship.
I don't have a problem with that.
Me either.
Other than that she is the tag team champion. So should they even be involved in a world,
That's one of the things that people were posting. Somebody said that they didn't know why they were involved and things like that. But so one story said that she was supposed to win the match by pinning Sasha. And then another said that she was supposed to win by pinning Nikki. No, I don't know which one's true. Would
have made more sense to pin Nikki. Why split the team up? But I mean,
well, I don't know if that would even necessarily split the team up. It's just every woman for herself. 6.
But Sasha with her ego.
Well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nikki seems expendable. Out of that group, Nikki and Dewdrop seem like the most expendable,
right.
I guess, at this point.
And as I understand it, they were Naomi and Sasha. I'll try to avoid the pronouns. Were of the opinion that they should be defending their tag titles at Hell in a Cell against Nikki and Dewdrop instead of one of them being in a world title match.
I don't disagree.
Well, it's not entirely wrong. I think that they planned on bringing more prestige to those tag titles, but right now it's kind of they're kind of spinning their wheels a little bit with it.
I think the tag titles was a mistake.
Yeah,
I don't think they have enough of the roster to do it.
And I agree with you. And honestly, I could honestly see this as a great excuse to just retire the titles if this is actually where they're going.
The only way this would have worked if they were defending it on all 3 shows.
Which is what they should be doing.
Show up to NXT, wrestle Katana and what's the other girl? Casey Catanzaro's Katana now.
They changed her name too?
Yeah, Casey Catanzaro is Katana something or another.
But
I really like her partner, and I can't.
Kaylin Carter.
Yeah, that's not her name.
She's spicy.
Oh, I like her. Oh, my wife's not listening.
Casey,
I follow her on the Insta.
Casey's got a spicier name now, which is fine. It's developmental. They're developing her character.
But they have a tag team,
right?
I mean, NXT's got a lot of ladies, and I think honestly, a lot of the smoke is coming from the NXT ladies. Nikita Lyons is. Everybody's talking about her. My wife popped last night. I'm getting off subject a little bit, but her finishing move is that splits.
Yeah, she
leg drop thing.
Yeah, it's like a spin kick into the split or something.
So she wanted to call that. She wanted to do like a throwback or an homage to the Glam Slam, but wanted to rhyme with Glam Slam. So you can only imagine, Mark. Do you know where I'm going with this, Marko? The Glam Slam, and she does the splits.
That's cool.
I think I know where you're going.
The clam slam.
Yes, I get it.
I was going a different place. I was going clit split. But...
No, that's good. But I believe she wanted to do clam slam, which my wife last night about choked on her dinner and then fell out of her chair.
I do like the clam slam. I like wordplay.
But the NXT ladies, man, they're hustling. You got Cora Jade and you got all of that. But there's opportunity there. That's where they should be going.
Right.
So I don't understand.
Plus,
there's a lot of chaos with the women's. I mean, I heard that old girl that just came back. What's her name? Blonde military lady.
Lacey.
Lacey. Apparently, she's already been moved from SmackDown to Raw and is not going to be a heel.
Well, she did show up on Raw, but
I missed that. See,
but she didn't do anything heelish. She was
What'd she do?
She was still being a babyface, just cutting the babyface promo and mugging and all that.
It's just weird. They built her up on SmackDown. They're like, we're going to move you.
I think they were just trying to get feelers out to see how the character was going. And I would be surprised if Raw was the plan all along, just because they need talent on Raw. It's the
Joe
show.
LaMondola's listening. He came in with the clam. He knows.
Heavy metal cowboy himself. What's up, Joe?
Hasn't seen a clam in years, but he knows what's up. I've had a few already, folks. So you're in. That's why Mark's wearing the tequila. I haven't even. I had one shot of tequila.
That's only because the rest is in the fridge. We'll get to it.
It might be Tito's Narge this evening. I don't know.
So at some point, we are going to be joined by our buddy Keith Gibson from Clubhouse Lounge Radio. He has some dad duties, I guess, to finish up before he jumps on with us.
When you say
dad, he got to do duties.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you say dad duty, I know what that
diaper
means.
duty.
Yeah, I think it's
some
money youth sporting event.
Hello, Mr. Reed.
Kyle Reed. How's it going, buddy?
All the usual suspects are here.
Right.
All you usual suspects need to invite your friends. I want to see more shares of the podcast out. That's what I want to see. We appreciate all of you that are coming on.
Makes you wonder if the only friends they and we have are each other.
We all hanging in. Yeah, that's weird. That's one big circle jerk.
Apparently we're getting around, though, Narge. You were telling me.
So last week, quick story. My wife is the principal at a local academy, preschool, daycare, whatever you want to call it, if you will. There's a lot of little rugrats running around. And she had our last name on the back of her shirt. And some guy walks in and he said, "Does your husband have a wrestling podcast?" And she was embarrassed. I don't know why. She's married to a celebrity. She said, "Yeah." And so apparently this gentleman is friends or knows the gentleman that runs the local personal airport here in town, Flight Star or whatever. That is the personal airport of one Shad Khan, who is the father of the greatest wrestling promoter of all time, Anthony Tony Khan. So I don't know. I mean, the rumor is we're getting around. People are talking about us. There could be folks at the All Elite that they know Narge and Redman and unfortunately Marko. So
no, I don't say unfortunately. Every donkey,
have you met him?
Every donkey needs an ass.
That's why you're here.
Hey, you are a rascal, Mike.
So I don't know, but hey, we got random folks asking about us. My wife was embarrassed, but at the same time, I think she was proud. She was like, "Holy shit, somebody knows who my husband is,
finally,
other than
this
me."
is worth something.
Yeah. When does this start paying the bills, Mike?
As soon as I know, I'll tell you.
But anyway, let's round out the Sasha.
Okay.
All right, so in your opinion, is it a work? Are they working us, or is this legit? Are we on? Is there a chance Sasha Banks is All Elite by the end of the year?
I've been going back and forth on this all day after what was going on last night. And the more I think about it, the more I'm inclined to think that it's legit. Just, number one, the thing that threw me was that WWE started putting out press releases during the show last night.
For them to put that out and literally say their show is scripted.
Which is not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not, but it doesn't happen often. Benoit, I think it happened, the steroid, all of that. I mean, that's what started it. But this just seemed... So this is the other thing I caught this morning. Carmella jumped online in defense of Corey. Everybody was kind of giving Corey shit because Corey called Sasha Nemo unprofessional. Yeah. Carmella said he's literally just doing his job. And, I think the divas and the female wrestlers, whatever, I call them divas, they're not. But
old habits.
I bet they're pretty close backstage.
Sure.
Obviously, the four horsewomen,
Yeah.
Sasha, I mean, she went up with these folks. So for Carmella to come out in defense and say, hey, Corey's just doing his job, that leads, again, that's just another, I think something legitimate happened here. Tequila time, sorry.
Tequila time. So one thing that threw me is in the statement, they didn't use real names. They were still saying Naomi and Sasha Banks. Okay. Usually that would be, they'd say Trinity Fatu, Mercedes Vernado. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm glad you know something. This.
I know Naomi's is easy because she's married to one of the Usos and, Fatu. So.
Well, and Sasha's married to the guy that designs the costumes in the back.
Former ROH legend Kid Mikaze.
So, I mean, they have ties to, even if they were to leave or get fired, they literally have a guy who is with the biggest group in professional wrestling as far as WWE goes.
I was going to say, how hard would this fuck over the Usos if Naomi shows her ass and gets fired.
I mean, if the 5 DUIs doesn't do it, and your wife walks out and tells Vince, to go fuck himself.
Right.
I mean, does that do it? I don't know. I think they would probably end up pushing the U. So that's Vince's weird mentality. Like, I'm gonna make you the champion, pal. Like,
right. Because they got the big unification match on Friday.
You know what they'd do? They'd stick him with this hot-ass valet. He'd be coming out with Nikita Lyons in about 2 weeks.
They'd rehire Cameron from the Funkadactyls.
Something. He'd be taking the Clam Slam is what would be happening.
Oh, the Clam Slam. The Clam Slam is growing on me. That's getting over with me. What did Joe say? Sasha Banks is mad. I can see it online. I'm not surprised.
What websites are you looking at, Joe, to see Sasha Banks upset?
I didn't know Sasha was on Pornhub.
Yeah.
But...
she's probably on something called WeHub.
Joe, thank you for tuning in. We got to get Joe back on soon. I know we want to get Kyle Reed back on soon. A lot of these guys listening, we've had in the studio. If you're listening to us, we'd love to bring you on. Obviously, you're a fan, and that's what he's listening to me. Mark's such a fan of me, he's listening to me live.
Well,
that's very cool.
Narge, let me ask you, just kind of put a pin in this. Whose side are you on here? If it's legit. Work or shoot. If it's a shoot, are you Team Sasha and Naomi, or are you on WWE's side?
I'm all elite usually, but I got to be on Team WWE. Everything, it's short. It's so short term. Okay, maybe you're not happy right now, Sasha, but think about all the times that they pushed you and maybe they shouldn't have. WWE is such a temporary situation that going forward, okay, you're not happy now. Give it 6 months. You could be main eventing SummerSlam or whatever the hell's coming up. So I think I'm a corporate guy at this point. I think really it was the wrong place, wrong time. Did they have a conversation with Vince? Or was this it?
I think they did have a conversation with Vince. From what I understand, the conversation with Vince went well. I think it was the producers and Johnny Ace that was the problem.
And I read an article where Vince wouldn't budge. But who knows?
From what I heard, he had told them to restructure the match, and then the producers got shitty and, then shit hit the fan.
Which is, there's a lot of problem with the producers and the writers, and we've talked about this before. A lot of these guys don't have pro wrestling experience. I'd be curious to see which producers. Was it Helms? Was it somebody with actual wrestling pedigree?
Helms doesn't strike me as the kind of guy to fly off the handle.
No, I don't think so. Is Finley still doing the women's thing?
I don't think he is.
I know he came back he was gone, came back,
Right. I don't think he's still there, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I'm kind of, and I look at it from, like, in my line of work, as a musician, if I was to go and somebody wanted me to come sit in with their band for a show, and then I rehearsed all week, and then
that's Sasha calling it. She's pissed.
Oh,
now.
She's mad now. But no, if I was rehearsing for a week with this band, and then all of a sudden the day of the show, I said, you know what, I don't like the songs we're doing. I don't like playing with you guys. I'm going home.
Here's my guitar. I'm going.
Right. That would not go over well.
No.
I'd probably get my ass kicked.
Yeah, you're a big boy. I don't know. Maybe a chewing out.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. But yeah, I mean, if this happens in any other line, even if you're just working a 9-to-5 job at the fruit stand, if you walk out in the middle of your shift, you're getting fired.
If I rolled into the bank and threw my tie down and said I'm done with this, which I wanted to do numerous times, yeah, I wouldn't be employed. Well, I'm not employed currently.
Well,
but I will be soon.
Yes.
I've got I got options.
Right.
Man.
You're a catch, Mike Narge.
I mean, my OnlyFans is blowing up. I got one subscriber. Right? Hey, have you paid this month yet?
For OnlyFans?
For mine, yeah.
Not yet.
You need to resubscribe it. You're $7 last month.
I've got to upgrade my payment information.
All right.
But yeah, it's I was listening Busted Open, and they went a lot into the Sasha Naomi thing. That was actually the only topic they talked about today.
Was it Dave and Bully?
Dave and Bully.
Man, somebody shot on Bully last night. Somebody called him. Who was it? Paul London. Paul London went in on Bully Ray. Basically said that Bully was just kind of, he was the guy who could have taught a lot of guys things, but never wanted to do that. I guess there was a moment, and I'm getting off topic, but I'm not really.
No, you're fine.
I guess Paul London went, they were on tour and went out on a walk with like Rene Dupree on the beach, and they're just talking business together. And Bully tried to like goad him into an argument in the locker room. And Paul wasn't having it. Paul's like, no, we're just having a talk, professional, blah, blah, blah. But Bully, it pissed him off so bad that he couldn't get Paul's goat. And I guess Undertaker complimented Paul London on it. Thought it was really cool. And I could see Bully. I think Bully probably is a locker room bully, unfortunately, I think that's probably how it goes. I'm not trying to talk down about another podcaster, and I'm a
Right.
Dudley fan.
Especially one with giant calves who could kill us.
I'm gonna drop him.
I mean, I
in a
pissed him off
heartbeat.
a long time ago on this show.
The thing is I just, some of these guys, it's almost like football. Oh, Mark gave the point, so we're probably going to go to our guest in a minute, but it's almost like football. The gentleman in Tennessee, Tannehill, he's got a quarterback underneath him, and he doesn't want to do anything to help that gentleman out. I'm sure there's a lot of these vets in the locker room that are like, nah, you're not taking my spot, kid. And I feel like Bully Ray's probably that type of guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So should we bring our guest in, Marko?
Is it special
Looks
guest
like
time?
he's ready for you.
All right. Well, actually, we're running pretty well ahead of schedule, but we're going to welcome our guest in. Wrestling legend from the state of Florida.
Legend.
Couldn't be more excited about this.
This
Narge.
may be the biggest name we've had on the show. We've had Bill Alfonso.
Right. I think this
is
tops
it.
Fonzie. Some call him the winner. I call him Mr. Technical. Barry Horowitz is in the house. Barry, how you doing, man?
Doing excellent, guys.
Oh my God! I popped. I just marked out.
Oh,
Barry,
wow.
welcome.
Thanks. It's a real honor to be here. Are we live right now? Or
Yes, we are.
We are live.
Oh, okay.
We are
Very
live.
good.
We do an audio-only podcast right now, so if you don't want to use your video, you don't have to, but it's good to see somebody on the screen once in a while, too.
Yeah, because I'm looking so jacked, big as a house, one bedroom.
So, Barry, we talking to you in Florida, sir?
Yes. Where are you gentlemen from?
Oh, we're Central Illinois by Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, yeah. Wrestled there many times.
Champaign, Illinois,
Yes.
home of Mr.
yeah.
Khan.
So, Barry, we always start off all of our interviews with the same question. When did you get into pro wrestling, like as a fan?
Oh, as a fan, I'm going to say, oh, wow. I'm going to say when I was about between 13 and 15.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And was it watching like Eddie Graham doing the championship wrestling from Florida?
Exactly. I was watching championship wrestling from Florida. And my first match I ever saw was Thunderbolt Patterson and Mr. Clean, and I was hooked.
I don't think I'm familiar with Mr. Clean. I know Thunderbolt pretty well.
Yeah, Mr. Clean's gimmick was pretty cool. He looked just like the guy, the commercial of the cartoon, and then the one that was that in real life looked like him. He just not a
We had a little hiccup there in his side.
Yeah, I'll have to try to track down some Mr. Clean footage on YouTube at some point.
I'm surprised, Mark. You're usually into this. You know all the obscure.
Yeah,
pretty cool. Haven't seen it done since.
yeah. Barry stumped me. I was. That's a new one. I got to look up Mr. Clean.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I'm gonna ask you. When did you actually get your start, like in the business? Was it when you were a teenager, or was it a little later on?
Actually, I was pursuing to be, I thought about, a long range goal, and basically I wanted to pay my dues from day one. And I wrestled at amateur and youth centers in St. Petersburg, Florida, and then in junior and high school, a year at FSU. And I just wanted to, build my amateur foundation to progress to professional. I mean, not everybody does that. I wanted to do that. That was my plan. And I had to pursue, it was really hard to get into business. And I was lucky through a friend of a friend that knew a entrepreneur in St. Petersburg, Florida. And he had a lot of connections. And he lined me up for an interview with the great Malenko.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you said you went to FSU. Just as a random thought, were you there around the same time Ron Simmons was there?
No, I don't think so. And if so, we didn't know one another. I was there a year only, and I didn't graduate. I actually dropped out because I had a chance to turn professional, and that's why I didn't pursue it. So basically what I took business administration and sports nutrition, and as we speak, I'm a certified sports nutritionist. A lot of people don't know that, but
nice.
it was my second passion. That and my third passion was to be a magician.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard that about. I know Ace Austin is a young guy. I think he does like sleight of hand in the ring sometimes, like during his entrance. And then Al Snow always jokes that he wants to be a magician for the blind, which is always kind of cracks me up. But
Who said that?
Al Snow.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
got. I just saw Al Snow at WrestleCon and haven't seen him in over 20 years. It was good seeing him. He looked good and he's a good guy and he's a good wrestler.
Yeah, I ran into him at he was at the Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis about 3 weeks ago when I was out there, and great guy.
Oh, cool.
He's one of the coolest guys.
What's that?
He's a great guy. He's been out in our area for meet and greets that are in there. And,
Yeah. I've traveled with him back in the day when he was Avatar and they first brought him in, and yeah, good guy to travel with. He's funny, and we had some good times, and we were doing a private signing, and we were cutting up with each other, and yeah, he's really a good guy.
So you mentioned going pro. Where did you start? Where did you get your start going pro, Barry?
Well, when I started, when I hooked up with the great Malenko and his sons, Jody and Shelly. I mean, if you want to get technically speaking, pardon the pun, but it was the great Malenko, Jody, Shelly, Carl von Stronheim, and Carl Gotch who built my foundation. As far as my positive thinking and accountability and showing up and just being persevering, that was just in my DNA. They helped progress it a lot. And basically, I went there 3 days a week. The Florida Mattress Factory. Actually, I'm sorry, I started off in a judo school, Ed Malley's judo school. I think he's a world judo practitioner to this day. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. He's older now. And I mean, I was taking backdrops and bumps on 1 inch, 2 inch mats, judo mats. So that toughened you up real quick for 6 months, and then went finally into a 20-foot ring and a 16-foot ring. And we would go 3 times a week, 3 hours a night. I did that for a straight 18 months. I never missed a workout. And that was also training with weights and holding down a part-time job. But it's amazing what you could do when you chase your dreams and you're 18 years old, 19 years old. And then it was actually, I'm fast forwarding. It was time for me to leave. And the great Malenko gave me a list of promoters to contact. I don't know what made me think of just, I'm sorry, I rewind a little bit. I did some indies, Sunbelt wrestling and whatnot for the great Malenko in Florida and helped build my resume. And then I just, I got in a car and I went up towards Northeast and I had Gorilla Monsoon's number and I called him from a payphone. And basically, I think I was working them, but I probably wasn't not at 21 years old. I thought I was. And hey, how long you been working, kid? And I told him 2 years, which I wasn't. And show up at Allentown, PA. We film every 3 weeks on a Tuesday. And the next day is Hamburg. Every 3 weeks on a Wednesday. And the rest is history. I mean, when I entered that behind that curtain in Allentown at the Ag Center, it was called. I think it's still there. I've wrestled there actually for a few different companies. I mean, you name it. I mean, Bob Orton Jr. was there, Jimmy Snuka, Saito Fuji, the Grand Wizard, Freddie Blassie, Vince Sr., Jr., my God, Johnny Rods, Jose Estrada, Matt Rivera, Buddy Rose, Kurt Hennig. I mean, just a plethora of wrestlers. And it was enlightening and overwhelming, but, you know, I had to handle it, and I did. And it helped me get get through that door, because eventually, after a while, I need to leave. You just don't learn from TV matches. And Vince Sr. booked me, and I was supposed to go to Oregon for Don Owens through Jimmy Snuka, but actually Vince Sr. made the call to Crockett and Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, I drove there and stayed there 2 years, and that actually got me polished. I mean, I was working every night, going to Canada once a month. I was traveling with Rufus R. Jones and Jimmy Valiant and Vinny Valentino, Sonny Fargo, Johnny Weaver, Bugsy McGraw, Hercules Hernandez. I mean, Terry Gibbs. I ran into Orton Jr. and Piper and Harley Race, Ric Flair. Brought me to my first Starrcade in '83. I was a part of that at the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. So, yeah, it was very enlightening, and the rest of my career went on and on from there.
Barry, the names you just mentioned, I mean, it's a who's who of professional wrestling, and we've got a couple of guests in the chat here. They want to know who was your favorite guy to work of all time, and not me personally. Who was the biggest? Did you ever work Hulk Hogan?
No, never did. He would only work like the main event, and it was usually somebody that was a semi-main eventer, like, or they'd have him beat somebody that was in a tag. Like one time, Boris Zukov went against him because him and Nikolai were partners.
Right.
By the way, those two guys are great. Nikolai Volkov, I recently befriended his son in Baltimore 3 years ago. What a great guy. What a great heel manager. A member of the tribe, if you know what I'm saying. Fellow landsman. And he's really a good guy. But that's how that would work. But getting back to your great question, who's my favorite of all time? That's hard because I have a lot of favorites. Mostly my favorites were people that replicated myself or were technical wrestlers. I could give you my list. I mean,
give me top three.
As far
top
as,
three.
Top three. Okay.
Yep, there you
all
go.
right.
I'll give you some room.
I'm going to go with Mike Graham,
Oh, wow.
Skip, and Owen Hart.
Oh,
Nice.
that's not a
Nice.
surprise. Yeah.
And
Now, there's much more. I hate to leave the Armstrongs out, especially Brad and Scott.
right.
Tommy Wildfire Rich, Tom Zink,
Oh,
Brian
Z-Man.
Pillman, Buff
Oh,
Bagwell.
you said the Pillman word.
Yeah, we talk about Pillman quite a bit on this show.
And you said
Good
Buff.
guy.
You said Buff,
Good
which
guy.
I think is awesome.
First guy I seen to vault on the top rope and follow it with a flying clothesline like AJ Styles does.
Yeah.
First guy I ever seen to do that. I'm sure I've never seen it before. Now everybody does it. It's a common spot, but he did it with Fury. He did it excellent.
Great athlete.
I love that
Yes,
you
he was,
mentioned
yes.
Buff Bagwell. He's kind of got a resurgence lately on Twitter. Working with the GCW crowd, which I know you recently worked Joey Janela. Joey's kind of on a Legends tour lately. And that match you had with Joey was pretty incredible. I mean, that was the one I think we both saw and we were like, we got to get Barry on the podcast. So that was pretty awesome.
Thanks. That is my first real, I emphasize real, hardcore match in my whole career, ever. And that's the first time I've been in a ring professionally wrestling in 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Been a minute, huh?
That's what happens when you take care of yourself and you stay in shape and muscle memory and wrestling. And you could adapt to different styles. A good versatile wrestler normally turns into a great wrestler.
Who reached out to you for that, Barry? Was it Joey or was it the company that booked it? Or
It was actually WrestlePro.com, Kevin Matthews, my new best friend, and Joey Janela, my new best friend, AEW, my new best friend. I mean,
We have a huge AEW supporter here.
you were on AEW last week. We couldn't believe it.
Yes, I
we didn't
was.
know that.
You're our first
Yeah.
guest to appear on AEW on Dynamite specifically.
Let me tell you something, and I'm not just blowing smoke here or trying to what we call sabida or kiss ass, whatever you want to call it. Let me tell you something. I've worked for billion-dollar companies, and this company, they check all the boxes with professionalism. I never seen so many guys in the back watching the matches and on the computers, IT guys. Everything is done professionally. The venue, and that was just a taping. I could imagine a Dynamite or a pay-per-view, but the talent is next level. And I mean, I would say AEW, where we wrestle, and that's what they do, and it's right up my alley. They wrestle. They got over 100 great workers there. I mean, everybody's working there, the agents and the trainers and everything. Everything is just it's great. It's really good. Everybody looks happy. Everybody's working their ass off, and I was glad to be again a phone call and a part of that, and hopefully something maybe future out of it. I mean, I don't think about wrestling, but maybe something else with a promo, or maybe I could help the product. I don't want to take nobody's job. I just want to be part of I want to be one of the cooks in the kitchen, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bottom line is with these people, WrestlePro and AEW, it's just a sign of respect, and I really appreciate that very much, because I think I deserve it. I'm not trying to put myself over, but I think I deserve it, and I try really hard to this day. So yeah, it's really a cool thing, that whole scenario.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. I was just about to ask, because I know that Tony appreciates the legends. He appreciates the throwback. He likes that. If you had any future plans with them, and I'm sure after the reaction you got last Wednesday, that Tony probably won't be too far away from calling you again, especially with everything going on with MJF and Wardlow. There hasn't been a wrestler since you, I think, that's really dug into the Jewish heritage and the like MJF. I mean, that's you guys kind of go hand in hand there. So
I think so. We're both technical wrestlers. We're both real Jewish people. We're not using it for a prop. I mean, that's not cool to do that, by the way.
No.
And we're a member of the tribe, and he's a good guy. I met him 3 years ago in Baltimore at a Starcast, and I saw him at a meet and greet about 2 months ago in Baltimore also. And yeah, that would be really cool. That's up to them. I hope they consider me. I really do. It's right up my alley, and I'd give 150%.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How busy are you on the not trade show circuit, all the conventions that go on? Do you get involved heavily in that stuff yet or not?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's my livelihood. I mean, I do the meet and greets, and then I do seminars that are mentally and physically. They're about 3 hours. I try to fit my whole career in 3 hours of 18 months of training, of try to convey to young wrestlers that it's more than just grabbing a headlock, getting in the ring. It's about being in the ring, psychology, perfecting your craft, making you a better worker, turning into a great worker in and out of the ring. A lot of people should know that. I'm not trying to be their father or mentor them. I am trying to mentor them, to help them. It's up to them to listen to me, and they can listen to me, and they can do what I did. You get a little bit of this from this guy and a little bit from that guy, and then you just put it to yourself and just, think smartly. And hopefully you should progress. I mean, I've did the best I can in this business, and would I've liked to go further? Yes. I'm grateful for the push I've got and different things that I've got that, believe me, some other guys would wish that they had my little situation. So I'm grateful for everything. I really am.
Have you ever thought of taking the quote unquote Mickey route, from the Rocky movies, and you find somebody that has talent, and you hire on as their actual manager, not just for show, but teach them these strings and teach them what they're doing, and make sure they understand that they can do it because you've seen their talent, but they're rough. And because that seems to me like we watch a lot of these guys, and these two here, this is Marko, but Narge and Mark a lot of times talk about the guys that put in the work and they're good at, and the guys that don't. But it sounds to me like you have a lot of knowledge and experience, and it sounds a lot to me like you'd be a really good teacher, because you don't come at people with you come in with a good attitude about, I can help you.
Right. I would love to do that. I never thought of it the way you put it. It's a great question, great idea. But yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, I persevered my whole life. I mean, let me tell you something. How many times I've been at the gorilla position and pumped up, oiled up. My match was canceled, not because of my match. They didn't have TV time, but hey, I got paid for putting my stuff on, and I'm still living my dream. So I know letdowns and stuff, but I keep on persevering. I kept on, and for the most part, it's been working for me. I mean, the proof's in the pudding with that. When I get a phone call from Kevin Matthews from WrestlePro with that match, and then I was booked in a 10-man tag match against the Rock and Roll Express at WrestleCon, which was basically an entertainment match, but it was fun to be there. The people were with it, and that was my second match. I didn't have to work as hard as with Joey Janela, but it was interesting, and so was that whole WrestleCon in Dallas. That was just that was off the charts. I mean, I've been to a lot of them, but I think this tops in my eyes. It tops everything.
Well, if you're going to be in Dallas, that's the best place to be.
I did WrestleCon at WrestleMania 32, and it was incredible. But you happen to mention the Rock and Roll Express, and there's a little news out there today surrounding them. And I got to ask you, I got on Wikipedia today, and I saw there's a guy by the name of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. He's got about 10 years senior on you, and he's dusting the boots off. He's going to get back in the ring one more time.
There's a lot of debate about that, too.
And it sounds like with the Rock and Roll Express. What do you think, Barry? Do you think, me personally, I think he'll be protected. I think it'll go well. Do you think it's smart for Rick to get back in there one more time? I mean, the business doesn't leave you, right? There's still some of that love in there. You know, you've seen it with a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with his decision, because I saw some of his workout matches on YouTube, and I was highly impressed. I've always been impressed with.
You talking about the ones where he's in the shed or whatever?
With Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was probably a storage thing. I've been to a few of those.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
A few of those. They rent out that. Some schools they don't have an actual school, so they do it that way. Which, hey, I kind of like it because it's old school, and you pay your dues in properly instead of a fancy performance center or what have you, and air conditioned. And I mean, that's nice too. Don't get me wrong, but it's pretty cool that way. And I'll tell you, I've always been impressed with Flair, and I've worked with him twice in my career. But when he went against Shawn Michaels at a WrestleMania, I think it was his retirement match. Let me tell you something. He worked his friggin' ass off, bumped his ass off, did everything, and he looked darn good. I was impressed.
How long ago was that,
match.
guys?
Oh, wait.
8. So we're talking 14 years.
Right.
Do you personally think, because there's rumors, there's nothing confirmed that he is trying to return to the ring type of thing. Do you think that's a good idea for him, or do you worry, or do you think they'll scale it back so he doesn't get hurt?
It's confirmed now.
It is confirmed now.
It on Twitter.
Okay.
It'll be
It's
a
happening.
podcast.
I had not heard that part yet.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that for a man? I mean, he's up there enough that, I start worrying about, debilitating injuries.
I think he'll be all right, and you could pull off that match. I mean, you can go 10 minutes, you can go 15, you can go 20. I think it would draw. I think he'll look good. I really think, it will do well. I really do. I think the whole idea, and I didn't hear about this until 10 seconds ago, I really think he'll pull it off, and it'll go good, and it'll be the talk of the town, so to speak.
Right.
He's actually doing it under the Trilla fight, who did the Mike Tyson fight and has done some of the other.
Trilla, yeah.
And so the rumor is it's going to be Rick and FTR against the Rock and Roll Express and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So if there's anybody that can dance with Ric Flair, Rick Steamboat's probably going to be the best one. I think the fans just want to see some chops. They want to see a figure 4 leg lock and maybe the bump off the top rope. You think Rick can do the bump off the top rope at 73?
That's a long way down.
I want to see the Flair face plant.
So Narge here has actually a tattoo of Ric Flair on his arm that is impressive as hell. I'll make sure Mark gets it to you so you can see it, because it's crazy good. But Narge is a favorite wrestler in the world. right there.
Besides Vader.
Wow.
Besides Vader.
I'm a Vader fan. Yeah,
He doesn't
Barry,
have a
did you ever
Vader
get to
yet.
work Vader?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever get to work Vader?
I worked Vader one time, but it was let me think. I worked for WCW, and it may have been a handicap match. Me and I don't remember my partner. I'm sorry. It was just, and that was it one time. And yeah, it was fine.
That was what I was going to ask. A lot of guys have said Vader was stiff in the ring, and from what I've heard is Vader would be stiff, but he would only do that because he wanted it back. He would want the same kind of intensity.
Well,
so.
I don't know. I was fine, and I've worked for some stiff guys, and I mean, I've worked in All Japan, and I locked up with and took a shooting armbar from Karl Gotch, and my mentor Jody Malenko. I mean, you look him up, and his nickname isn't Super Shooter for nothing.
They're all laughing at me because I've used the term stiff.
Yes.
A lot of.
What is it?
I use the word stiff. That's a
We're
wrestling term.
we're
These
children
are
on this show,
children in
Barry.
this
Being,
show,
be-
Barry.
being very
yeah.
being very 13 right now. I'm sorry.
So Barry, I want to back up a little bit, but like you were talking about all the guys you'd worked with when you first came up, and you were the first guy we've had on that ever had any like close proximity to Vince McMahon Sr. And I've always wanted to ask, did you have any interaction with, like a lot of interaction with Vince Sr.? And if so, what was he like? Because you don't hear a whole lot about him anymore.
Not really. I would let's see. I see him at Allentown TV, but he's always busy with Vince Jr. and his top guys, Bob Backlund and Snuka and Buddy Rose and Sergeant Slaughter. Not too much. I did get to talk to him in Hamburg. I actually, I don't know how I even got in that room, but I just asked him, I said, I asked him politely, I just need to go somewhere else. I've been here over a year. Could you help me out? And I think I spoke to him once or twice. He's a soft-spoken gentleman. And that was about it. Remember now, I'm 21, I'm green. I'm a little nervous. So I'm trying to get some moxie up too. And I think the moxie that I got up helped me out. So I didn't overstep my bounds.
Okay, yeah, because like I said, yeah, we had Bill Alfonso on. He was actually the first guy we had come on, and he was a guy we'd asked a lot about, like Eddie Graham and Dusty, and so it's cool hearing like about the old time promoters back in the day. At least it is for me. So
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely. I agree.
Did you ever work with Fonzie?
Oh, heck yeah. He's refereed a lot of my matches. Excellent referee. Let's see. I mostly, of course, in Florida, and then also in WCW. If I'm not mistaken, he was doing that and taking care of the Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And I've seen him on indie shows, and yeah, always got along with him, and great referee.
Barry, I'm glad you brought up Giant Gonzalez. So Fonzie was one of our very first episodes, and Mark put his foot in his mouth and
I really did.
kind of took a little low blow at the Giant Gonzalez.
I took a crack. I shouldn't have, and I apologize.
And
for
Fonzie was not happy about it.
Well, he just kind of he put me in my place a little bit, but
so we've learned since then to be respectful.
But Fonzie's a great guy. Fonzie's a hell of a storyteller too.
Yeah, he is.
Once we get him on the subject,
he's got some good stories too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he was arguably for me one of the top 3 interviews we've done so far. Because
until
he
tonight,
was I will rate tonight's later, but. I mean, the guy was just full of energy and anecdotes, and that was amazing. We've talked to a couple of guys we had a lot of information, but he had a lot of anecdotes, and I'll tell you what, people love stories.
Oh yeah, I got a ton of them.
Tell me your favorite. Tell me your favorite story. Tell me your favorite story.
Oh God, I don't. Jeez, I don't know about.
As long as it doesn't start with that one time at band camp, we can continue.
So for me, early WCW, early 90s WCW is my favorite time period. Everybody likes the Attitude Era, all that. I like early 90s WCW. I'm sure you have some memories from that.
Yeah, I was at if I'm not mistaken, 91, I was in a Halloween Havoc. And yeah, definitely it was yeah, it was very, I'm trying to just think because I was there in the 90s, and then I signed back them in 97 after I left WWF. So I'm going to say, both eras were really good. I think I'm going to have to lean towards the 97 one more than the 91. It was just more, there was Nitros and Thunders, and I was right before they got purchased by Vince. I was working an angle with Alan Funk, and
I remember that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Kiwi?
And I
Nice.
I got to do some other things. I don't know if you remember that night on Monday Night Nitro, where they beat the hell out of Dallas Page. Those about 5 security guards, they were all in black and helmets, and I was the lead one. I was the one putting the boots to him first. Nobody knew that.
I just watched the Slamboree where they had all of so it had to be that Nitro before that Slamboree. I literally watched it today randomly where they had all the SWAT guys come in. Eventually it was Canyon who reveals himself. So for that, I mean, I think Page was feuding with Raven at the time. So that had to be right around the same time period.
Right. Yep. And also I did this little thing where David Flair, I did a match with him, and the pre-tape we did was I'm walking in the hallway, and I'm walking with Scott Putski, and all of a sudden Flair walks up to me. Hey, we need to talk to you about something. What's that? Benoit's in the background, Dean Malenko's in the background. I think Arn Anderson was. Yeah, we need you to get in the ring with my son and make it look good and help him out when he's putting a figure 4 on you. And I said, I'm not doing that. And then, of course, they lean on me like they're a mob and you better do it and whatnot, stuff like that. And so it was a little vignette we did, and it was a pre-tape. And then, Flair tells me to do this, and we go out there and have a heck of a match. And I'm almost beating him. And every time I almost beat him, you got one of those guys, either Malenko, Benoit, or Arn, jumping up on the apron like, you better not, we're going to beat your ass. So that's what it would be. And then, of course, when he goes for the figure 4, he can't get it really well. And I help him put it in. And, of course, I submit and whatnot. So that was kind of cool. It was something to be part of and something to do. And I remember Sting complimenting my interview. He liked the way I did. It was very convincing. Nice. He said, so that was kind of cool to be part of.
And that's such a great time to be a pro wrestler, that late 90s era, and for you to be involved. I mean, you just before that, you got to do the thing with Chris Candido and WWE. I mean, that was kind of your big push, right? Was with you and Candido.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest push really started in Florida when I defeated Mike Graham for the Florida heavyweight title in his hometown at the University of Tampa. That was huge. And one of my favorite baby faces to work. He's definitely in my top 5, top 10. I never seen such a patient baby face in my life. This man knows. He smells wrestling. He drinks wrestling. He eats wrestling. He does everything. He eats, sleeps, and lives professional wrestling, and he's phenomenal. I never seen such a patient guy in the ring. I mean, there's quite a few, but he's number 1 in my eyes. That I could put a stamp on. Number 1 with patience and just a good professional, a great background, AAU champion, powerlifting champion, did well in Florida, him and Kevin Sullivan, Florida tag team champions, and just an all-around great guy. I mean, sadly missed, Mike Graham. He helped me a lot too in my career. And it's just a shame these things happen in this business.
Yeah. Far too often, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Barry, do you still follow the product today? I mean, I know obviously you wrestled Joey Janela. Are you still watching AEW? Are you watching WWE?
I watch all different ones. I was watching some Impact this morning. What I watch is I'm still, even though I'm not in the ring, I would still critique it in my mind, what I would do, what I wouldn't do, what they're doing wrong. Not to knock them. It's just part of my teaching ability. And it's not to knock, it's to teach. There's a difference. But I'm partial. If it's a cartoon match or whatever, it's nice to watch, but I really want to, I want to see something like if it was back in the day, if it was, I'm just throwing names out, but if I'm flipping the channels and I see Brad Armstrong going against Kurt Angle, I'm stopping everything. I'm watching that whole match.
Oh,
because it's going to be a go to school moment, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely there'll be some schooling in that match, and it'll be for the better and plus.
You prefer the technical side over the high spots?
I prefer both. I like the high spots as long as they're not. I'm not into a long drawn high spot, because if I'm a fan, I'm going to go, this was choreographed, this is rehearsed. It's just too perfect.
Yeah,
but
you can only have so many
done,
flips and dives, and before it doesn't mean anything.
You're done. If it's done properly, short and sweet, maybe one long one and then a couple of keep alives or a couple of short ones, that's the way I believe in high spots. That's me, though. That's the way I was taught. That's the way I like to teach. That's what I do in my matches. And I like it. I really think it's a formula for success in my life, in my career, for me.
Did you
it
happen
doesn't
to
work
watch
for everybody?
Right. Did you happen to watch this year's WrestleMania?
I watched half of it because I was signing at a bar and grill in Detroit, WrestleMania watch party. So I got to see the first night.
We were at a Jericho show. His band,
Fozzy,
the Fozzy band, were playing the first night. So we were at a show,
cool.
and these two jamokes were on their phones watching it and watching Fozzy play at the same time.
We couldn't miss Steve Austin coming back.
That was, I mean, come on. So you got to watch some. What did you think? I mean, good product, and was there a favorite event? A favorite match?
First of all, the production was next level. It was like just watching the Grammys or the Oscars or Super Bowl. Production was phenomenal. I was impressed with what I saw. Remember, now I'm signing and I'm trying not, I pay attention to the fans and customers first.
Right.
But when I did have time, if I wasn't signing, I was impressed with the tag match with The Miz and
Logan Paul.
I forgot. What's
Logan
that?
Paul. Logan Paul.
I'm sorry. Yes, Logan Paul. Yes, definitely. Everybody, especially him, the outfits, everything was pretty darn solid in there. I was impressed with that match. I liked it.
I thought the same thing, and a lot of people kind of ragged on it, but I thought Logan did well. How could you go wrong wrestling Rey Mysterio
with The Miz?
With The Miz,
these are
who are two of the best.
And whoever did that is a hater, because he did well.
Oh, yeah.
He did well. He looked good. He worked hard. I liked everything about it. I mean, I liked it a lot.
Did you watch night 2 when Johnny Knoxville and like half the cast of Jackass showed up?
I saw bits and pieces of that. But what do you expect? I mean, Johnny Knoxville, he takes bumps just every day, just for the hell of it.
Right.
I think he takes a bump brushing his own teeth.
Right in there.
That was kind of our vote. I think we knew, like, out of all the celebrities they could have, that's the one who would probably be willing to do almost anything, and he did well.
They brought in the fake hand.
Yep.
And I mean, overall, that whole thing, and then Wee Man coming in from underneath. I mean, that was the most entertaining, and I wouldn't say the best. I would just say the most entertaining of all of it, because it literally dragged you to this different place than wrestling normally would.
Right, which is a good idea. If you're going to do that, do it at WrestleMania. And they did, and I like the props. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but what I saw was pretty cool.
Barry, so night 1, Steve Austin main evented. Looked fantastic out there. Have you worked Steve Austin? I mean, you were in all the areas when he was probably just before he hit his peak. I know Ringmaster, and then Stunning Steven. I mean, you were there. Did you work Steve quite a bit?
I only worked him once.
Oh, wow.
And it was in Madison Square Garden when they first brought him in as Ringmaster.
Wow.
Well, I couldn't pick a better venue then. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
He did so well. I mean, the rumors are that Steve may do a couple more. So wouldn't mind seeing it.
Sure.
it's you. The stories you have, we're gonna have to get you back on because I know we haven't even done a deep dive into
the surface.
Right. I do want to let
no.
you know that your bank account's gonna get $28 more. I just ordered your shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. While we're talking,
Which one?
The winner. It's got his face on the front. I don't normally wear T-shirts with men's face on the front, but I'm gonna wear Barry's everywhere. I currently have Danhausen on my shirt.
Narge is afraid of competition. They look at the face on the shirt and they look at his face. They're like, "Where's the guy in the shirt?"
I ordered a Barry and an Abdullah the Butcher shirt. So talk about two opposite ends of the spectrum.
And no jumping the rail merchandise.
Night and day. I actually sell this shirt at my merch table.
Mr. Technical, Barry Horowitz. I like that. Is that the only place you sell it?
What's that?
Is that the only place you sell it, or do you have it online too?
No, that's between that and my stick pin. This is pretty cool, and my pint size.
Nice.
Yeah, your
Pretty
brawler.
cool.
I've saw your.
What's that?
I've got that pin. I've got that on my
cool.
board. I didn't subscribe in time to get the brawler though, the little figure, but I do have the pin at home. So that was one of my. I was pretty stoked to get that 1 month. Patting yourself on the back. My son.
Yeah.
We do an unboxing video, and my son is 10, and he's like, "Dad, who is this guy with the beard?" And I said, "Kyler, let me show you." So,
let me teach you.
It's this guy with the beard. Check this out.
that's right.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I got a brawler.
This is the wrestling plushie, and it's in detail. I mean, this thing is 22 inches high, weighs about a pound.
Where
cool.
Where can people get one of those?
This is at my merch table also. All these items right here are at my merch table. I personally sign them and talk to the fans and you do your meet and greets. We take pictures, they buy pictures, and that's my four main things that I sell.
So while we're talking about merch tables, why don't you let us and everybody listening know what you got going on in the next, maybe through the summer? Do you have some special engagements or gigs you're gonna be at?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I gotta give some major shout outs to, first of all, AEW, highspots.com, prowrestlingtees.com, YouTube, Facebook, probably my big leader is cameo.com. I mean, I just did a Cameo half hour before I started this interview. Cameo has been doing really well for me. And I'm leaving in a couple of weeks, going up to, let me think. I knew I would forget these, of course. The big one, the Gathering in North Carolina for 2 or 3 days in August. That's one of those once a year events. That's like the big event in New York. And of course, WrestleCon. I am going in June to Jacksonville, Florida. That's another huge once a year event. What's really cool is, and right from there that night, I'm going to Dave & Buster's in Orlando in Disney, which everything there they do is big. I'll be signing there with, there's going to be a lot of pro wrestlers, and there's going to be MMA fighters, UFC. I'm actually going to mark out and want to take a picture with Amanda Nunes because I think she'll get the title back. I'm a huge UFC fan and boxing and Olympic fan. I love watching the Olympics, and I keep up with all that. And of course the NFL, because I am from Champa Bay, or you could call it Tampa Bay.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Fonzie did the same. He talked about Tampa Bay when he was on.
So, yeah, I mean, come on now. We got the GOAT, and whoever says anything about that, sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. This man is the GOAT, personified.
So
what else is? I'm going to Asheville, Kentucky. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's a bluegrass festival, and my hobby is country music. I lived in Nashville for 12 years. I was in a #1 music video, Joe Diffie, Pickup Man.
Joe was awesome.
95. It was the video of the year, song of the year. Sadly, Joe passed away last year.
COVID kills, man. COVID kills.
Yeah, man. And it's a shame, but Yeah, I've rubbed elbows with a lot of people at the Opry, and it's my second home. I'm from Florida, but that is my second home, and I think I'll retire in Tennessee. I love it there. I love everything about it there. The food, the country music scene is it's changed since I left. Music Row is crazy now. Just got back from, where was it? New York and New Jersey. We had a big meet and greet there a week ago, and that went really well. And when you go to these, I'm telling you, there are so many wrestlers there, but you think there's not that much going on until it gets loaded. You can't even see the other side of the building. There's that many people. It's nonstop for about 3 hours. And I mean, literally nonstop. It will slow down. If the event stops at 4, it slows down about 20 after 3.
But
otherwise, it just goes nonstop. I love it, though. The fans are very respectful and appreciate me. And they're not working you because of some of the comments they'll say. They know their stuff. They're the smart marks, and I respect smart marks.
There's no more rabid fan base than the pro wrestling fans. I mean, I've been to car shows where you're supposed to be there to see cars. I think I met Rey Mysterio, and the line was out the door. People literally came. They're like, "Oh, cars are here. Who cares? I'm here to meet Rey Mysterio," and that's it.
Hey, you want to see a long ass line? Go to one when Bret Hart's there.
Oh, I've met Bret. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, I just actually tagged a buddy who does a convention here locally in Illinois. He does it's called Dark History and Horror Convention, and he's always asking about professional wrestlers. And I think you'd be a fantastic guest to have. So I went ahead and tagged him, and he may reach out to you. His name's Brian, but I think you'd be an awesome guest to have up here in Champaign. We'll show you around, Barry. You come up here, we'll show you around. We'll have a good time.
Yep, there's...
Hell yeah. I mean, I probably met, and I'm serious, I probably wrestled at every major city in Illinois, the major cities for WWF. I know I have. I know Champaign. I'm trying to think of, all the Moline, the Field House.
Peoria. Yeah, all those.
Peoria. Oh my God. There's a quick story. In Peoria, we're all, like sometimes there's catering and then there's a room. You're just BSing with each other. In fact, that day I was BSing with Rocky Johnson and I was talking to somebody and all of a sudden, there's some roadies setting up stuff. And it's that guy from the lead guitar player from Cheap Trick.
Rick Nielsen.
He books shows here in Bloomington, Illinois, actually.
Okay, so I go, dude, did you play? What are you doing? He says, well, we're not playing right now, not touring. I make good money doing this. And he was really humble and polite. And we talked for about a minute or two, and that was about it. I didn't want to bother him. He was working, and that was really cool. I'll never forget that. And Peoria is pretty cool. They're just as, Illinois, Valparaiso. Oh, it's just all those little towns also in Illinois. Wait a minute. Valparaiso is not, I'm sorry, that's Indiana.
Valparaiso is in Indiana, yeah.
Hey, little known fact, though.
It's not too many chair shots to the head, as Brian Blair would say when he loses memory. But I stole that line from him. It's what happens is you go to so many towns, they like I could go to Columbus, Ohio, and get confused that I was in Dayton because they're close together and they're, I look at it like same trailer, different park.
So little known fact.
That's Ohio for you.
We're here in Champaign, Illinois, Champaign County. We had at one time 3 WWE referees from here and Tony Khan. So Chad Patton, Jack Doan, and
Justin King
all worked WWE. And then
all
obviously Tony Khan is from here. So I'm sure you know Jack Doan probably. I think he was there when you were working. Little short blonde-haired referee, good friend of mine.
I know Jack Doan. What a great guy. It was him, Mike Chioda, Joey Morella. They were the refs. Danny Davis, Earl Hebner, Dave Hebner. These
what
were
a memory.
Premier referees. I mean, these guys were great. And I love all those guys to this day. And I didn't know Tony Khan was from there.
Yeah, his dad actually owns the large bumper manufacturing company here in town, multiple ones. So Shad came here with nothing in his pocket, Tony's dad, and started a $1 billion business here in Champaign,
he owns
Illinois.
factories here in Champaign that employ, in Urbana, that employ a lot of people, which is awesome. And, of course, he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
It's a hotbed for pro wrestling.
I think my other long-range goal, it would be me and MJF own just about everything in this world. That's what we do. We're Jewish, and we own everything, and that's just the way we roll. Because there's only two kinds of people in this world, gentlemen: Jewish people and people that wish they were Jewish.
You got to throw Cabana in that list too, though.
We have an
Oh, sure, definitely. Oh, yeah.
We got an interesting fan question for you, and I, after reading his question, I understand it better. But he said, here's the question. He goes, when do you know enough is enough and it's time to stop being a wrestler? He wrote start, but I think it was to stop being a wrestler. And the reason he asked this question was he just watched the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
So he's like, I think he's trying to look at that and go, here's this guy. And, so as a guy that's in the business, when do you know it's time to just, I can't keep doing this at all? Is there do wrestlers come to that point, or do many of them just keep going until they can't?
I don't want to get in that. I don't want to get in that run or circle. I stay in shape. I mean, I'm training harder now than when I wrestled, because when I was wrestling, I stayed at 215, 220. Right now, I'm 225. I was 235 about a month ago. Just bulked up more, but I'm in the gym 6 days a week, and my diet and everything, I'm semi-retired, and I could take care of my body much more. Plus, I've got some injuries, and I agree with that in the meet and greets and teaching. As far as getting in the ring, I will get in the ring, but it depends on the match, what it is, because I'm not going to get hurt at an indie show and then I can't do my meet and greets. I can't function with my family. I can't go to the gym. Those days are really gone, and I don't want to just be a haphazard wrestler, like taking section bumps and stuff. I don't want to be that way. But, Kevin Matthews put it to me from WrestlePro really good. He says, Barry, they just want to see you. You look good. Pat yourself on the back. I mean, let me announce that you're there. Do a promo. That's what they want. But the Barry Horowitz that I like to remember is all those matches you saw me in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s with Owen Hart, with the Armstrongs, with Pillman, with Bret Hart, and any other babyface, Skip, Mike Graham. The list goes on and on and on and on. The Youngbloods, and then in All Japan Wrestling. That's how I like it. I like to work hard. I like to bump hard. I like the high spot. But mostly, I just like doing wrestling moves. I like submissions, and I love suplexes.
Barry,
there you go.
If you'll permit me a fanboy question, I have to ask, where did the suspenders come from? It was like iconic for you back in the day. Like, when did you get the idea?
I just thought about. I don't know where it came from. I just I really can't put it where I grabbed that from. I didn't copy it from anybody. I didn't see it anywhere. I don't know what made me think of that. I don't know, to be honest with you. I just knew that when they introduced me, I could take them off and just throw them up real condescending like and be a heel about it. That was about the only thing.
But talk about an option to make you stand out. Like, it was just, nobody else was doing it.
My wife designed all those suspenders, and then I had seamstresses do my jackets. And it's just something that just happened. I can't put my finger right on it.
Wrestlers, and I noticed this more this last time we watched the show, but some very extravagant costuming goes on. I mean, people are wearing these little, their colored tights and all that shit, but there's a lot of stuff on there. Is that paid for by the promotion, or is it by you? Is it how does that all happen? Because I mean, I saw some stuff and I'm like, man, that's elaborate. and it's shiny and it's multiple colors and it's hand stitched, and we know all that. So all that craftsmanship costs money. Do you guys have to take care of that, or does the promotion, or is it the contract?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know how that works today. Back in the day, I didn't pay for my trunks with the Star of David on it. There was a lot of stuff I had done privately. And then there was some stuff like when you're under contract, like when you saw Jeff Jarrett's outfit or Bob Holly's outfit, or I'm just trying to think of somebody else, Mo and Mabel. I'm sure that was the seamstresses. It was two sisters. I think they were from Chicago. Unbelievable. They'll whip up something in a half hour. I did meet the head seamstress in AEW, and he was a fan. He kept on looking at me. He finally came up. Can we do a selfie? And he was a fan of mine, and I didn't even know it. And I was just asking him about his stuff. He was busy sewing, and he does some fancy stuff there. So I don't know how that really works. I don't know if you pay them, because I'm not in that line anymore. I'm not
active anymore, right?
So I really don't know.
So back in the day when you did it, though, and you were playing the heel in many cases, did they provide you or pay for so you could just do your job, or did you have to worry about all that too?
Well, no. Most of my stuff was made from a local seamstress in St. Pete and Texas when I worked for Global. Mm-hmm. Some of it was comped, and some of it I did pay for, but it wasn't astronomical fee. They were glad to do it for us. Plus, their work is shown on TV.
So you talk about Texas, Dallas, right? Did you
Dallas
work?
Sportatorium.
Did you? Yeah, the Sportatorium. You worked with the Von Erichs and all that.
Not back then. The Global. I was working with the Handsome Stranger, aka Buff Bagwell, Sam Houston, another great baby face. John Tatum was there. Rod Price was there. My God, there was Chaz was there. God, I can't. I'm just trying to remember. Ben Jordan was there. Jerry Lynn was there. In fact, me and Jerry worked a little program for the Global Light Heavyweight title. Nice. Nightmare Danny Davis. God,
was Waltman there?
The Lightning Kid. Yes, he was there. Yep.
Was that the ESPN promotion?
That was ESPN. Yeah, I was there about a year or two.
I used to watch that all the time. Yeah.
Scott Hudson, Craig Morton, great announcers. I mean, really good announcers.
So Barry,
yeah, it was good. It was really good. Not too many people know that ring is so friggin' stiff. It's like taking bumps on a sidewalk in downtown New York or downtown Nashville, and that ring doesn't move. It's
You're talking about the one at the Sportatorium?
It stays there.
You talking about the one at the Sportatorium?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's probably still there. It's probably there right now, bolted to the floor, unless they break the building down.
Down off Industrial Boulevard. Yeah,
I think the building's gone.
I think the Sportatorium's gone now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Dallas from mid late 80s through early to mid 90s, and so that was it was actually a landmark as far as people tell you about. Oh, and that's a Sportatorium, and then down here's a Loose Derrick Justice Center, and they were like landmarks. Between that and where Kennedy got killed, those were Dallas landmarks at the time.
Yes, yeah, and I'm sure there's some iconic places there that they filmed. Oh boy, I'm going back. Wow, this is one of my favorite shows back on Friday night. Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
Not the new one though.
No,
the Chuck Norris one.
I'm talking Chuck the Badass. I'm sorry. God, I'm getting all worked up here. Chuck the Badass Norris, the man that sparred with Bruce Lee.
Yes.
The man that nothing scares, and he's amazing, and he's all being.
He's a water entrepreneur now. I had a bottle of water with Chuck Norris's face on it last.
Did it kick your ass?
Yeah. It's got a lot of electro.
Everything. How about the Total Gym? I actually tried it. That damn thing is pretty cool. I'm serious. Basically, it's helping you with your body weight on a sled.
Yes.
You'll get a pump off of that sucker.
I remember the commercials well.
I think Chuck Norris, the only guy that's outmarketed and outsold everything that he does,
Gene
is
Simmons.
Gene Simmons.
I was going to say the same thing.
You know why, don't you?
Because he hustles.
Because, he
Is
works.
Chuck Norris
He's
Jewish?
in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they
I
both
love Chuck
are.
Norris, but Gene Simmons,
is.
a fellow tribesman.
Yes,
That's
he is.
why.
One of the chosen.
He is. I'll tell you what, man. He'll sell a used condom with his fucking name written on it, and he'll find a way to sell it.
Yeah. Hey, he could sell the recipe to ice cubes to the Eskimos.
Exactly. Toothbrush to somebody in. Well, I won't say
let's
it.
not
I'll
offend
insult
people.
an entire state.
Hey, Barry, I got one more thing I want to bring up. Bret Hart dropped your name a couple weeks ago because he was making statements he thinks the Hall of Fame should include guys, the enhancement guys, more regularly. And I know that's something you've gone on the record about too. So, can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I like the way, I think Scott Steiner, I saw him on a YouTube video, the way he said it, the Hall of Fame is in Vince's head, but I guess that's another story to talk about. But, and I'm not saying this just to justify myself, but I see some of the angles they'll do on there on TV on Monday Night Raw, especially when they had that Raw reunion 40 minutes from my house, and I wasn't invited, but that's another disrespectful story, but that's fine. The things that they'll do when you could do other things, and my idea, this is just my idea, you don't have to take up the whole Hall of Fame. You have your Hall of Fame, and then you announce the first time ever Enhancement Hall of Fame. Let me tell you something. I've met these fans at these meet and greets and buildings. 20 years ago, no. Now they're smart to wrestling. They read the internet, the social media, the meet and greets.
So much information out there.
They digest pro wrestling. I digest protein bars and my diet and my shakes. I mean, they go for the gusto. They know everything. And if you announce that, and what do? Well, what could you do? You could add it on to your schedule. We're going to have 3 enhancement guys. They could get 5 minutes apiece, 10 minutes apiece. Why don't you try something different instead of some of these hokey things I'm seeing with weddings and 24-hour champion? I mean, stuff that makes about as much sense as a one-legged fireman kicking down a screen door in a submarine. It makes no sense.
It sounds like you've listened to me rant on here before.
It does. It sounds like Narge and you have a wavelength going on right now, which is all about the WWE is just screwing this up.
But I agree, Barry.
All you got to do, try it. You've tried everything else, and some of this
Right.
stuff. I mean, I've seen them shoot angles with guys. They've worked on it for months, and then the guy's gone a week later or something.
What's the point?
It would pop that Hall of Fame. I promise you, I would. If it didn't work, I don't even want to be paid.
Well,
if you announced that and did it right, it would be unbelievable.
Well, the thing is, right now I give you my top 3. If we're doing enhancement talent, I'm going Barry Horowitz, Dwayne Gill, and Iron Mike Sharp. Those are my top 3.
Is that in that order or just in no particular order?
In no particular order, but those
All
are
right.
3 guys that fans would be like, yes. Barry and Dwayne both had moments.
Yeah.
So, Barry, what I just heard was Narge said you're in the top 3.
Easily. If not the top
What's
1.
that?
Right.
Yeah.
I would throw Pistol Pez Watley in there.
Pez Watley's another one.
Nice.
The thing is they do a side to the Hall of Fame. I know a few years ago they put like Luna Vachon in.
It's
and
like
she didn't even,
legends.
Yeah, but she didn't even get a proper introduction. She got like a video or whatever, But still, she's in. So her name's in. It was Luna, the Bruiser,
Wahoo.
Yeah, all those guys. So
there's some guys that never worked there, or some guys are Kid Rock or something. I don't get that. I find it highly offensive and disrespectful towards myself and other people that are like me. I'm not jealous. I have no problem. None of these problems. I mean, Bret has been adamantly loud, which he's not that type of person. I was there when he said it in a meet and greet in Albany in the mall in New York about his dislike for Goldberg and his like for me, and I wrestled his whole family just about, and met his mom and dad and his wife. I stayed at his house. I wrestled his brother more than anybody on this planet has wrestled Owen Hart. I have wrestled Owen Hart's every single one of his gimmicks multiple times.
So you mentioned
I
Goldberg.
was there at the airport in Bristol, Tennessee with Chief Jay Strongbow picking up Owen, flying in from Calgary when he was probably 24 years old. I was his first opponent that night on Monday Night Raw TV.
Couldn't have had a better opponent.
No.
So I got to ask though, Goldberg's a part of your tribe. Goldberg is a part, you know.
Yes, he is.
Did you ever get a chance to work Goldberg back in the day?
I put him over twice. One time I wasn't supposed to, but his opponent, they couldn't find him in the building. They couldn't find him. I don't know what happened that night. It was a weird night in Nashville.
Did you tell me you wanted to break the streak? You're the guy. I'm gonna put it.
I want to break that streak, damn it.
That's right.
But anyway, no, I haven't spoke to Bill Goldberg in over 20 years. He did tell me that his father was a fan of mine, and he was very, very nice. Like I said, the last time I saw him or spoke to him was probably 98 or 99. So he's did well for himself.
Yeah, he's done all right.
Yeah, he's okay.
I think he's going to make it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Owen Hart multiple times tonight. So obviously, you know, we all know what happened. How did that affect you personally? I mean, did that change your perspective on things, or I mean, how did you come out of that? Because you were close to him, I think.
I was packing for Monday Night Nitro, and I was talking to my wife, and the news came on, and I heard wrestling. It was like 2 minutes after 11. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. It was just, I had to go to bed that night, didn't sleep well. I had to get up early. I was in the airport. I remember Sting coming up to me and saying, at the time, Eric Bischoff was in charge. He says, out of respect of Owen Hart, I'm not coming down from the ceiling tonight. I'm going to tell Eric. I said, oh, wow. I didn't know what to say. I like Sting a lot. I like his attitude. I like everything that he's did for this business. He did it properly and works hard at it, and love the gimmick, new and old. And I was just perplexed about the whole thing. I mean, I've called Calgary and tried to convey my condolences to the family. It was hard to get through. Everybody was in an uproar. And then I saw the facts on the dark side of the ring and different things that have happened, and his family. And Owen was a good guy. He saved his money. He didn't need to come from the ceiling. People like Barry Horowitz and the Armstrongs and Tom Zink and Pillman and Hulk Hogan, all these guys, you don't need to come from the ceiling. I mean, Sting is a different thing. It's part of the gimmick. But for other guys to come from the ceiling, fly in, it's basically to cover up that because they can't work right. It's a cover up.
Yeah.
Think about it. Owen could have got the same result running to the ring like he always did with the blue blazer outfit on. You know, you got masters in Hollywood doing this thing. I don't know what was going on with that apparatus, but it should have never happened to anybody, especially Owen. I think he was about to retire, I think in a little while, and he would have retired a multimillionaire.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
I think he was building his dream house in Canada. This is what I heard allegedly. It's heart-wrenching. He was a great person, a great athlete. It's just a shame. It shouldn't have happened. It should have never happened. It didn't need to be done that way. I still don't understand that whole thing. And let me tell you something about Owen. When no is no, Owen says no. That's what I'm surprised. I've seen him. I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or he puts his foot down. I'm surprised he went for that. Maybe he thought it would be all right, because I'm hearing conflicting stories. He was nervous. It wasn't done right. It was unleashed. It got caught in the robe. It got caught in the feathers. We don't know, but that's a horrific death.
Yeah.
Because I went to that building for WCW a year later, And I went early by myself, and I went in there and nobody was around. Maybe there was a few people around. And I went and looked at the top of that ceiling, and the ring was set up for WCW. That's a long ass way down.
Yeah.
That I'd have been dead before I hit that post or whatever happened, but that sucks. That's you got no control. I mean, it's just horrifying.
Did that at all change how you, like, what you were willing to do or who you were willing to work with or anything else? Did it adjust your attitude toward the entire sport, or at least maybe toward that promotion?
I don't respect their wishes. The show should have been stopped. The matches next are working in a ring that a guy died in, and there's blood stain on the canvas. It's distasteful. I just that's my opinion on that. I don't think that should have. I don't think the show should have went on.
Yeah.
You know.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just and to hear his kids talk and hear his wife talk, you know, she's pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I know, Owen told me that's his childhood sweetheart, Martha.
Yeah.
And that just it's a sucky situation that should have never happened.
Yeah.
Never ever should have happened. Me personally, I think I would have probably said no. Yeah, there's been times where I'm claustrophobic. I didn't want to go in that body bag for the Undertaker. Nothing against, you know.
Right.
I'm a good worker. You can work around that. Do me a favor. I said I don't like that. You would have did it for another up tier guy, you know, and yeah, I don't, you know, I was supposed to be a part of that, the Buried Alive match between him and Mankind. Had to get underneath a paper mache mountain, if you will, with a box fan with myself, Tracy Smothers, Bill Irwin, something for 5 hours. Ooh. I'm not going down there. And it's not that I wanted to leave early or nothing. I would have ruined the show. I would have freaked out. I'm not sitting under
I understand
there for
that
5
totally.
Hours. Get somebody else.
I don't do
it's not me.
Yeah, I don't do that shit. I'm like, nope, that's a little too close quarters for me.
It's ironic you bring this up because I watched an old episode of WWF Primetime the other day. But Jake Roberts would put the snake on people. There's no way I would allow that to happen. I can't. I mean, there were guys with the snake licking its face. Like, I'd have
peed.
It's been done to me. It's been done to me. I didn't like it, but Jake assured me everything. I did it about 5 times. It was fine. I will do that over a lot of other things. I wasn't worried about it. I really wasn't.
Are Jake's snakes, are they Burmese pythons or are they anacondas or
Pythons.
They're pythons?
I think they were Burmese pythons. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. I mean, you bring a snake nerd to me and I'm going to be like for lack of a better way to describe it, the girliest girl that ever existed. Because I'll be freaking the hell out. I'm like Indiana Jones. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, no, not too much problem with that one.
No. All right.
I'll do the snakes. I'll do the snakes over the body bag any day.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know the pecking order. Snakes over the body bag.
Exactly.
Coming down from the ceiling.
Excuse me.
Over coming down from the ceiling in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah. Which I would agree with that.
Right.
Who was the stiffest worker you ever worked, Barry? Before we let you go, I'm curious. Who was the stiffest guy in the ring? And everybody's going to make fun of me because I used the word stiff again, but here we are.
It's the combination of stiff and guy.
It's verbiage and terminology.
That's what I'm saying.
Stiffest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. I've worked for some stiff ones in Japan.
Did you ever feel like you could lay it back into them then if they were being that way with you, I guess is my question.
Well, part of it, as long as it's not busting me up,
right.
I'm going to take it just because it's part of the business. It's part of being tough. It's, you know, if I get punched in the face or and you know, kicked in the eye, that's a different story. But no, I've worked with a lot of stiff people and nothing put me out of commission. Nothing put me, out. I think I got a concussion once or twice from a stiff kick and possibly an elbow drop. These things do happen.
Right.
Never a broken arm. My neck was injured pretty bad. I was out for 11 months, taking that brain buster too many times. It's basically a shoot move if you do it proper. If you just do it, you land on your friggin' head.
Yeah.
That brings a good question. You were out 11 months due to something that occurred in the ring, right?
Yeah.
Did the promotion take care of your? I mean, you had ongoing like living expenses, medical expenses.
Yeah, well,
how does that work these days? Or when
it was
back then
half-assed.
even?
I was half-assed taken care of. Had
Okay.
asked for my money repeatedly, and then when I did come back, sorry, your spot's been filled, which bothered me because, well, if Savage came back or Hogan came back, nothing against these gentlemen, any main eventer, any semi-main eventer, Rick Martel, Tito, Santana, any of these guys, they would have. Why couldn't you? I broke my neck loyally for
Correct.
for you. I've worked hard for this company, putting your guys over, making them, some of them look like they could really perform.
Right.
It should have been another sign of disrespect. So that's when I went to WCW also.
Right. Now
That was in 91.
Now you've dealt with multiple promotions. Is any one promotion actually doing it right by the wrestlers? I mean, if you get injured on any job in the United States, a job, they have this whole, workman's comp and all that. And of course, you got to fight the government. But in the line of work you're in, you're not technically an employee. You're contracted to be there for an event or 6 months of events or whatever. But if you get hurt doing what they want you to do, is anybody actually giving a shit about you guys at this point yet?
Well, I think AEW, I know they have a doctor on hand and a trainer, which I've never seen that back in the day when I worked for WWF. I think they care. I think they'll take care. I don't know that for a fact. I've only been in their locker room once, but what I see, I think they take care of their people. It's I think Tony Khan operates a little bit different. He's not only an billionaire, millionaire, entrepreneur, whatever. I think besides that, he wants to take care of his product. So
that's awesome.
I think they do.
How many concussions have you had, like confirmed and maybe not confirmed, but you believe you had them?
2.
Wow.
That's not bad.
No.
I mean, my nephew plays hockey and he had 2 concussions. He was told if he had a third, he had to quit because apparently 3 is a bad line. But we hear a lot about guys in the NFL and wrestling and other contact type sports where concussions are a major issue that, I mean, they've been ignored up until like what? Was it the Will Smith movie where it all of a sudden came out? People cared.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw that movie. That movie was disturbing and probably all true.
Accurate.
Because the NFL tried to get that ixnayed.
Right. Junior Seau. That's all I got to say. That guy was a legend, and it was so sad. And, I mean, of course, we've seen it repeated over and over and over. Yeah. And, of course, we've heard the stories about wrestlers going through it, too. So that's the reason I asked. I was like, you've been in the business long enough. You can't possibly have had no concussions.
No, I've had a couple. I've had more to my body. I got arthritis in my left hip, and my right knee is going to eventually be worked on. I had my tricep torn, but I did that in the gym, not paying attention, right? But the neck injury is from wrestling, and the aches and pains is from bumping hard. I mean, it's part of your dream. It's part of working hard. But also, I didn't take some of the bumps that, the ladders and the tables and all that. Like a good example is Cactus Jack. I mean, he's taken a lot of hardcore bumps. Basically, he was a stunt man. Huh.
Yeah.
I explained to my son the other day, we were playing the wrestling video game and I had Cactus Jack and he did an elbow drop and my 10-year-old goes, "Yeah, right, Dad." And I said, "That's how Mick made his money, Kyler. He did an elbow drop to the outside on concrete." And he's like, "No, he didn't." Yeah. I said, "That's literally every single match for 10 years.
Yeah.
That was his spot." And I think he's regretting it now. I mean, he can barely get around. So
yeah, I know. he did save his money. He is a smart gentleman.
Yeah.
He did his gimmick great. I heard he's an author and a cartoonist and artist. He's well spoken. I like Mick a lot. I like him. I haven't spoke to him in years, but he's a good guy.
Yeah, hey, Barry, we're gonna let's kind of wrap things up. We can't thank you enough for coming on with us tonight.
It's been fantastic.
If you'll have,
thank you guys. I had fun, and we do need to have a part 2 because
absolutely.
I mean, just different stories. I am going to slip in a surprise story for you if you don't mind. I know we got to go. I got to go. Let's see. Wait a minute. This Tuesday. Okay, no, that's tomorrow. I don't want to miss my Beverly Hills Housewives. Don't make me miss that. Don't make me miss that.
No.
But anyway, I'm in a rent-a-car driven by Kevin Kelly, aka Nails.
Oh, Nails.
Barry Darso and I are in the back seat. John Nord is the co-pilot, aka Berserker, aka Demolition.
Right.
We can go on and on with Barry's names,
You got
but
some hosses in the car.
he knows his cars.
Just tell us, what kind of car was it? We want to know what the fit was.
The car, I think, was possibly a Cadillac we rented.
Oh, okay. High style.
We were driving back. I really don't know. It could, let me think. Possibly a suburb in Detroit, somewhere in Michigan. I don't remember, but I'll never forget. Kevin, he pulls off the ramp and he goes into this apartment complex where there's a straight road. He makes sure nobody's around, puts his foot on the gas pedal, punches it with the foot on the brake, smoke's flying, everything's fine. We're looking at the smoke screen and Kevin turns to me and he goes, or turns to us and says, "Yep, I just took 4,000 miles off this rent-a-car's tires and I'm happy."
That's great.
I said, "Whoa, okay, Kev, that was cool." And he laughed, and he's a good driver and stuff, but that was hilarious. I didn't expect that.
There's a phrase, it's OPM, other people's money.
Yeah. So
that's awesome, man.
Well, Barry,
Narge?
I speak for all of us. We appreciate the time. One of my favorite guests, like I said, I hopped on halfway through the interview and ordered a shirt, and I will wear it proudly everywhere I go.
I appreciate you guys' support, and I appreciate my fans supporting me on Facebook also. And my I also half owner of GTG, Good Times Guaranteed, live wrestling auction every Wednesday at 5. My partner Richie Sorrentino, he helps do that, and all the good promoters that have treated me good. I give a big shout out to everybody like that that's really taken care of me in my career. And real quick, one of my favorite promoters, Otto Wantz in Austria. He's passed away. He was a AWA world champion. And man, that gentleman didn't know me from Adam and just treated me good. Why? I just did what he wanted. I showed up on time and I could wrestle. That's all the qualifications you need for Otto Wantz. He don't care whose son you are, if you're jacked up, if you're this, if you're that. If you could work and you could wrestle, you're on his card.
That's the gentleman that does the cannonball that Kevin Owens does at JBL. Shouts him out quite a bit. Yeah. Barry, where can I get one of those wrestling buddies you've got? I got a 4 and a 2-year-old at home that are tired of beating up the Hardy
Boys. They would wrestle with the wrestling buddy.
We had hundreds and I sold them all. And
it's a limited edition item.
What's that?
It's a limited edition item now.
It is, because I asked this. All my merch is made in California, and I just spoke to my guy, and he says they're not making those no more. We're going to go on to something else. So for right now, we're just doing the stick pins and the one I got, the wrestling size here, and then of course the plushie and the shirts.
Awesome.
So do we have to go on to eBay to find a plushie now? Is that what you're saying?
You may have to, yeah. Well, I'm trying to fix a deal with them too. Right now, it's on the back burner, but I am going to work a deal with these people. They're really good people, and they do excellent work. They're out of New York, upstate. They're phenomenal. I never seen anything duplicated this standard. I mean, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 15 in my eyes.
I know. I don't think you've ever had an action figure. I'm a big action figure guy, but there's a place out there. I believe they're called like Zombie Toys or Zombie Sailor Toys.
Gonna beat you to it. Signed a deal with them last year.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, that will be ready. That will be ready in a few months. And I can't talk about the other one I signed, but this one is it's big. It's
you can talk about it. Just use very vague phrases.
It's the guy who made the ones in the 90s for Hasbro.
Oh, wow.
It's big. It's really big. Those will be out probably. I don't know when these will be out. I know it'll both be out within the next 6 months to a year.
Awesome. I follow both of those companies. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I won't name drop them, but Zombie, I think, does they've got a Nick Gage coming out, and I'm a big Nick Gage fan. And I mean, the realism on these. So I'm a friend of Mike Bucci, who used to be Supernova in ECW. He's Simon Dean in WWE, and he's got buddies like you, but he's got an action figure coming out from the same company. Great guy. We met through the banking world. So you're on the right path, and that's awesome. You've got the pro wrestling you've got all the avenues covered. I tagged our buddy who runs this convention up here. I want to get you up here so we can take you out. We got to get
Cavazos on the horn with him too.
Yeah, we've got a company here locally that does some indie stuff,
and they have people come and do seminars and work spot shows.
I'd love to be a part of it. I mean, my track record speaks for itself. I mean, what you see is what you're going to get.
Yeah,
and anybody who gives me a bad track record, I'd love to hear them and hear what they have to say.
Right.
I'd love to hear the hater how they're going to knock me. I really would.
Make sure you and your people send all the links to all the things you want us to talk about or sell to Mark. He's been doing the communication with you guys, and he'll make sure he attaches it all to this podcast.
Yeah, it'll all be on the description.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much.
And Barry, if you're ever in Central Illinois, hit us up, and we'll show you the town and have a good time.
Oh, hell yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. We're shilling here. We will drink Terramana.
Yes.
You don't have to, but
it's
we
the
will.
People's Tequila.
When I come to Champaign, I just need, actually, let me think exactly. I just need two things. I just need to know where the meet and greet is, of course, the hotel and whatnot, and I'm sure it'll be nice.
Sure.
But then I got to know where the subway is. Got to know.
We got plenty.
I'm
actually next to the hotel. The subway in Champaign near like the area you'd be is literally next door.
Yeah, it's built in.
It's great. As long as I got my tuna wrap and my chicken wrap, I'm happy.
Sounds good. Well, Barry, we're going to definitely do a part 2. We'll
good.
get you.
I hope so. We'll get into more stories and more on my training and stuff, because I'm trying to fit everything in an hour, and there is much more. I just kind of fast forward a little bit.
Oh yeah. But like I said, we haven't even scratched the surface with you, and
this has been a blast.
We'll do it again for sure.
Barry,
definitely. I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for your time and your knowledge of the game, of the business.
Hey Barry, I'm gonna ask you to do something. We're gonna do something we've never done before. Narge, get your phone out.
Okay, what are we doing? Are we gonna take a selfie?
You're gonna take a selfie with us with Barry, but hang on, I got to make sure this works. Hang on. I don't know how the fuck this works. Okay, you got Barry in there?
All right, well,
you got us? There you go. There we go.
Now can we all pat ourselves on the back real quick? Because that's Barry's
Ouchies. Ouchies. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
It was great to talk to you.
Hey, Barry Horowitz Hall of Fame 2023. We're starting it. We're
the
not
campaign starts now?
We're supporting Bret Hart right now.
We're supporting the campaign now.
Oh, yes. You gotta support Bret Hart. I gotta say two things before I leave.
Sure. Right on.
There's a lot of great wrestlers out there, but Barry Horowitz wrestles great. I got to get that in.
Yeah.
And also, I need you to do me a favor. All of you guys, keep in touch with yourself. Don't let your meatloaf or your hamburger stand.
That sounds like a plan.
We will definitely understand and agree.
Yep.
Thank you and take care, brother.
Thanks a lot, Barry.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Yep.
Appreciate your time and effort.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit. We got to get him to Champaign County, right?
Yeah.
We got to hang with Barry Horowitz.
Yeah,
he took us up almost to the end here, and I am not upset about it.
No, so
that was good. He had a lot of good things to say, and he was very articulate about things that we may not have known.
And we are most definitely going to have him on for a part 2.
Yes.
Maybe we can even, if he's ever in town, we can maybe do it in person too. And
I think so. Like I said, I tagged Brian Ward, who runs the Dark History and Horror Convention here locally, and I also tagged David Cavazzo, who runs 01 Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Who's one of his champions, one of his guys is on our next episode. Mark, who is that?
On our next episode on Tuesday, May 31st, the current, I'm say current because he does have a title match like 2 days before he's on.
Oh, shit.
Camaro Jackson from 01 USA is going to be joining us on the Zoom.
He got a
and Menders is going to be in studio.
Menders is going to be with us in studio, our 01 super fan, who is also our war correspondent at all their shows. And I'm going to try and be at one of the shows that weekend. I think probably the Saturday show.
We got to drop the Barry. We're going to make this happen. We got to drop the Barry.
What the hell is that?
We got to drop the Barry.
Oh, Barry.
The Horowitz.
I thought you were talking about the berry, like a blueberry or something.
No, the Horowitz.
The Horowitz.
It's got to happen.
He says drop the Barry like he's talking about, let me do a teabag here.
No, well,
what the hell is that?
Hey, now, my wife's listening.
She told us to stop.
She did.
We saw that.
Between the indie promotion we have and the convention we've got, Barry fits. He literally fits both
perfectly.
profiles.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so we're the liaisons. We could literally be the gentlemen who take care of Barry when he shows up. We take him out, wine him, dine him. Mark, you do the rest.
Hey,
Mender says she'll help getting Barry to come into 01.
Do it, Mindy.
Mindy, you got it.
Go get him, Menders.
All right, so like I said, we went a little long with the interview, and I'm not complaining either.
Do you have a
Narge.
top 10?
I have a top 10. Now, here's the thing. We were going to do a thing for AEW today.
But Mr. Gibson could not join us.
Mr. Gibson didn't join us. That's all right. We'll have him on sometime.
Danhausen for all. Very nice.
I'm thinking maybe we should do a pregame for Double or Nothing.
When is that?
The 28th of
May.
On Sunday.
No, 28th is a Saturday. I know this intimately.
Yeah, we have
29th. 29th.
We have
It's on
shit
the
to
Sunday.
do that day. 29th is
Yeah,
Sunday.
I'll be there. It's in Indy. But
29th is the day that I'm going to go see fucking Top Gun Maverick. Fuck you guys.
well, you'll be done by then. It's probably
No, I'll never be done. That's Top Gun Maverick.
But maybe we'll do it like on a special Tuesday or something. We'll figure something.
Well, I mean,
out.
that's a 4-day weekend, so we could do it on Monday if that's not our normal Tuesday
That's
day.
after the show.
Oh shit!
But anyway, so
We'll
we were
figure it out.
So we were going to
Fucking
kind of
figure it
grade AEW since it's coming up on their 3rd anniversary. We'll do that another time. But I guess, as always, it would not be Tuesday without Top 10 Tuesday.
You've got 8 minutes to fit it all in.
That's what she said.
There
it is.
He said, what do I do with the other 7?
All right, what are we arguing about this week, Mark?
All right. So because our guest was, I think, a big deal in the 90s.
You think he was a big deal?
Right.
If anybody is listening to this podcast and is a pro wrestling fan, a true pro wrestling fan, when you say Barry Horowitz,
They know who it is.
They know who it is.
Pat the back.
Okay, Barry's up there with Barry's even. In my opinion, he's bigger than Dwayne Gill. He's bigger than Iron Mike Sharp. Dwayne Gill wasn't shit till he was Gilbert.
Right.
And
has
Iron
a
Mike
win on
Sharp
paper.
is more of a trainer than even Barry was the guy to make
the
everybody else look better.
And he was always, unlike a lot of the enhancement guys, he put effort into his look, into his body.
He had a gimmick.
He was in shape. But anyway, we're getting off track. You're
Rip
cutting
Rogers, that's the other one. But
you're cutting into my 8 minutes.
all right,
So, because this is kind of a 90s themed episode, my top 10 this week is top 10 feuds of the 1990s.
oh,
And this is going to cover all the 3 of the majors: WWF, ECW, WCW.
perfect.
Was there, just so I, new guy here, was there a Hulk Hogan Macho
Feud?
Man feud
No.
at that time?
It was sporadic. It's spaced. It wasn't long enough together to warrant being on the list.
But the biggie was 89.
Yeah, when Hogan turned heel on Macho. And
I have no move
right,
on.
all right.
Or maybe Hogan was the real man and Macho was the...
He was a real American, damn it.
do you want to get this going again? We only got 6 minutes. All right, so here
Hey,
we
when
go.
it comes crashing down and it burns inside,
It sounds like herpes, and you should get to see a doctor.
Did you ever hear that Village People song? It was Nacho Man.
No, that's hurtful. All right, guys, you're cutting into my time. I've been down to 6 minutes.
number 10.
Number 10, WCW, and also a little bit in WWF. Warren, from your tattoo, Mr. Nargelinas, I have the aforementioned legendary Macho Man Randy Savage against the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yeah. Fantastic match at WrestleMania 8.
Yeah. I love
which is where this tattoo came from.
Right. I love the feud in WCW in like 95, 96.
When they introduced Liz,
Right.
Liz was kind of the surprise, right?
And Liz turned heel for the first time and
Was Sherry still involved?
No, it was
No.
woman.
Woman, a woman. Won't you marry me now?
Yes. And they played it up like Liz had divorced Randy like then, even though it was like 4 years before.
They'd already been, or were they divorced?
They were divorced by then.
That's
yeah.
what I thought. Yeah.
But then Liz was handing out all Savage's money to the fans.
Why are
blowing it
we
all.
doing that?
No batting
Mark,
for
quit
Pedro
fucking
Bourbon.
with shit later this far in the episode.
But yeah, I mean, plus those two guys are absolute masters, and can't go wrong
now,
putting those two together.
I'm okay with that at 10. Maybe it could go a little higher.
Maybe a little higher.
I'm curious to hear. Let's go.
All right, shall we go to number 9?
We shall. Also
from WCW, early '90s, your wheelhouse. I got the man called Vader and the man called Sting.
Oh, White Castle of Fear.
White Castle of Fear, King of Cable tournament.
Yes. I mean, was there? What is wrong? What are you doing?
Marco's getting jazzy with the vocal effects here.
I sound like T-Pain. All right. That's a great one.
There we
Move on. I've had too much to drink. I don't know.
All right. So that one speaks for itself.
Yes.
Vader's the monster heel, Sting's the uber baby face.
Vader's son actually really commended Sting here within the last year or two, talking about trying to get him in the Hall of Fame, which he is.
Right.
But Jesse couldn't say not enough good things about Sting. Sting was the first guy to reach out when Vader passed.
Yeah.
Actually, Jesse said.
Jesse might be an interesting get for the show.
Oh, come on,
talk
Mark.
with.
Don't tease me. That would be a good... He has some professional wrestling background. He was
Right.
in NXT years ago,
But-
before it was kind of a thing.
But
and-
selfishly, it'd be cool to hear some stories about his old man,
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'd be down.
He might. We'll
That's
have to-
your homework this week.
Well, I don't know.
Get to it.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get on that. We'll keep you posted on that.
What number are we up to?
Number 8.
8.
ECW. Ooh, did you do that?
Yeah.
All right. So going to ECW, one of my personal favorites, Taz and Sabu.
Oh. I mean, they teased it for so
For-
long.
Almost a year and a half they didn't touch in the ring.
Yep.
Then they had the pay-per-view main event on Barely Legal, which was a classic.
Who won?
Taz went over in that match.
Do you agree with that?
I do. Because that
Taz
led
was
to
more the
Sabu turning.
serious,
Because that's the match that led to Fonzie turning on Taz and joining up with Van Dam and Sabu.
which
Great angle.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And Taz was the more serious of
Taz
the
is the
group.
shooter.
He was the shooter. Yeah, you got it. So I like
Not the
it. So
super
far,
shooter,
so good. I like
Jody
this.
Malenko. But yeah, so they had, and also the matches they had, like Living Dangerously 99 for the FTW title, the WrestlePalooza match. It's just, they always had good matches.
You mentioned FTW. That debuted this
This
week
week.
or last week,
Yeah, this
20
week.
years ago or
In
whatever. Right?
Queens, New York, Taz brought the original belt out.
And now who's carrying it?
Ricky Stocks.
Ricky Stocks. I really wish they'd take that belt more seriously. Not to get off topic, Tony Khan said he's got a bunch of fucking tag belts
I
designed.
heard there's trios belts in the works.
Trios. I want an extreme title. They've done enough ECW-esque, no rules bullshit. Come on, Mark.
If you give them something to fight for, Darby's going to actually kill himself in the ring.
That
Fucking
spot
moron.
last week, we were all watching. I mean, that was it him? No.
Darby doing the thing off the ladder?
Yeah, who did
Yeah,
that? Was
that
it
was
Darby
Darby.
or Jeff?
That was Darby.
That was stupid.
Onto the chairs, on the floor.
6 inches to the left and his spine on top of the... He's
Right.
done.
If Jeff's a half second late, he's dead.
You have to wonder what Sting's thinking. I know Sting's a good sport and all this, but is he thinking like,
He's got to step up.
these
and
fucking
gives
kids...
the wisdom. And Matt's supposed to be the voice of reason for Jeff.
Have you seen Matt walk? He ain't the voice of nothing.
Well, he could be he's not the gate of reason.
The man's got a hip.
He's got
problem.
I heard he's got an ad-free shows thing where he tells stories. I'm actually curious to hear it sometime.
Not as good as this podcast.
Oh no, of course not.
All
Does
right.
think he's getting Barry Horowitz on his show?
Nothing can
Fuck
compete.
no. Number 7.
Number 7, just to make you happy, Narge. 1997, well, late 96 into 97, Hogan and Sting.
Oh. Where
Great.
Sting showed up fat and overweight, and then Bischoff blew it with Bret Hart.
Not
and-
tanned.
Yeah.
Great build-up, shitty blow-off.
There was
payoff
so
was
much
awful.
wrong with that. They literally built Sting up for a year.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't even care that he's out of shape. Why is Bret Hart involved? What? That just wasn't needed.
He's trying to pop a rating and a buy rate and everything.
Should have just been a
Didn't need to.
straightforward.
Now, hang on a minute. Dwayne thinks Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart is number 1.
Well, Dwayne
popped
what-
his load early. What's new?
Dwayne-
this isn't a White Snake concert. Calm
Dwayne
the fuck down.
Dwayne knows what I always tell him. I say, you got to wait and see, buddy.
Tawny Katan isn't here on our desk, Dwayne.
You know why? Because she'd be trying to kill us. She's kind of crazy.
She's a zombie now. R.I.P. Tawny. All right, so I'll move on. Number 6, one of my very favorites, Bret Hart and Owen Hart from '94. One of my favorite
Wait a
WrestleMania
minute.
matches.
There was a TV show called Heart to Heart. You telling me there's a wrestling episode that was
Hart
Hart
versus
versus Hart?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, great feud.
And FTR just replicated almost the entire match.
Yeah, it was
week or
awesome.
two ago.
FTR, does that stand for Fuck the Rodeo?
Fuck the revival, forever the revival,
Okay.
Fear the
fuck
revolution,
the revolution,
Fear the rest holds, whatever.
all sorts of.
But I mean, I've gone on record before, Narge. You may not agree with me. I think Owen was better than Bret across the board in every possible aspect.
Owen was definitely a better promo.
Better
guy.
promo. I think better. He could fly. I think he was smoother in the ring than Bret
Yeah.
was.
I think all Owen really needed, he needed to tweak his look. I'm not talking blue blazer, nothing like lose the pink and black. I kind of enjoyed his later on run where he had
enough was enough time for a change.
not
black
even
and
the yellow and black. The
the Black Heart.
Yeah, with the gray and the red. He was with Jarrett, I think, for a bit with that look.
Yeah, I dug the Black Heart gimmick too
Yeah.
from '97. But
And I thought he could have been a world champion.
should have been.
Honestly,
I think he would have been. I think he would have gotten at least one title run before he retired.
in my opinion, I think Vince should have ran that route instead of this blue blazer gimmick. Had he pushed once Bret left, had he pushed Owen to that main event level?
Owen should have beat Shawn for the belt, and then maybe had a run with Austin as the payoff for the power
For the
driver.
neck break, yeah, absolutely. Which Austin, I mean, that was a personal feud.
Yeah,
So-
Austin never had it. He was cordial with Owen afterwards, but he held a grudge.
He held a grudge, yeah.
All right, so yeah, Bret and Owen, great. Never saw him have a bad match.
No.
It was just perfect. And like, as the little brother, I always rooted for Owen against Bret. You know,
I always like Bruce. No, I'm just kidding.
you know who really liked Bruce?
No.
Bruce,
Bruce. Yeah.
because I guess it was supposed to be Bruce and not Owen in that angle.
My favorite in the whole Hart Foundation deal was Pillman, and then it was Neidhart. I never liked anybody that was actually in the family.
I was always a big fan of Bulldog,
Yeah,
especially like early '90s Bulldog.
Yeah, see, I was a Neidhart guy. He looked the part. He was crazy.
When my brother and I were kids, like I'm talking like I was in 3rd grade, and we loved the Hart Foundation as a tag team. And my brother was a Bret guy, and I was the Anvil guy.
Yeah.
I was like 80 pounds.
You was setting him up for the heart attack. You're like, I got you, John.
Yeah, right.
All right, yeah. We got our little $1 million man buddy. Come on.
We never had the buddies.
Oh, see, I got them all at the house.
I could talk my dad into taking us to wrestling shows, much less getting the wrestling.
Oh,
buddies.
shit. See, my kids, I've got a tote, and my son last week was like, I'm going to wrestle the boss man. So what do you mean? You going to wrestle the boss man? I found him in your box upstairs, Dad. I said, leave my toys alone. I got adult toys. Put those.
Do you wrestle the wrestling buddies when the kids are in bed?
No, but yeah. So my boys have got 5 buddies right now. They've got 2 Hardy Boys, a Demon Finn Balor, John Cena, and a Kenny Omega.
Need to get him a Sidney Bacabella.
We
Shout out
need to
Joe
get a
Eastman.
Barry Horowitz.
That's right.
That's what I said. And Nova, Mike Bucci's been holding out on me.
You know who was tailor made to be a wrestling buddy? Blue Meanie.
Oh yeah, easily.
He's a walking wrestling buddy. He's awesome. I love Beanie. A great guy too. All right, we're getting off track, Narge.
That's all right.
But speaking of ECW, Narge, number 5, Raven and Dreamer.
Raven and Dreamer, yes, that's the greatest ECW feud of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
You better not have another ECW feud in this whole list.
That is the last ECW feud I have.
I watched earlier today. Again, I mentioned it. Paige and Raven in the cage, and they kind of did a similar Raven Dreamer thing. Only it was Canyon who did the chair shot to Raven, handcuffed to the cage.
Right.
But as a kid, I remember watching a show called Inside Edition.
Right.
You remember that? It was late night trash TV.
Yeah.
I hadn't been exposed to ECW.
Pre-TMZ.
Yeah, I hadn't been exposed to ECW yet. Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Almanac, I had all those, so I see the pictures. But I remember watching Dreamer handcuffed to the cage and Raven hit, right? Am I getting this? Or his opposite?
Dreamer hit Raven.
That's right. All right, so Raven's in the cage. Dreamer wrapping a chair over his head. And I remember thinking, I don't know what I was, 8, 9. I'm like,
This is 95, I want to say, 94, 95.
11. I'm like, holy shit, they do that on pro wrestling? That sold me. It was literally that image I'll never forget is him wrapping that chair over his head. I may have got the characters wrong, but
Was there anybody in ECW better at psychology than Raven?
no. Maybe Douglas. But that
Maybe, maybe Douglas. And
But was
Paulie.
there anybody else at being just a fantastic loser
Tommy?
than Tommy
Oh,
Dreamer?
lovable loser to the T.
That's why I loved him for years. I think Tommy, if he listens, I'm sorry, Tommy. I think he's overstayed his welcome. I really do.
You know, I sent a message to Tommy asking him if he wanted to come on, and he actually responded to me pretty quickly afterwards. Explained he's under contract to Sirius XM, so he's unable to do it. But I appreciate that he was able to respond to us. And
I will give Tommy kudos. And I've told you this story. I met Tommy 20-some. He was in WWE at the time. This is when he first signed with WWE. So Jack Doan, referees from here. And I said, Jack, I want to meet one guy. They were in Terre Haute at the Holman. I said, I want to meet Tommy Dreamer. He said, I think I make that happen. I went backstage. I met Tommy Dreamer. We took a picture. I have it. It's black and white. It's the worst printed out photo you've ever seen from the 90s printer.
was it on a Fun Saver?
I don't even remember. I'm backstage and I'm like, huh, there's Raven. There's Crash Holly. There's all these guys. And Jack's like, nope, that's it. Get the hell out of here. Rewind. So that was 20-some years ago. Rewind about 7 years ago when I first met my wife and Kyler. Tommy was in Decatur at a show. It might have been when David did. I don't know. We go, and I meet him, and I said, Tommy, I met you years ago. It was my favorite moments. He looked at me, he goes, Terre Haute, Indiana? I'm like, because I mentioned Jack Doan.
Right.
I said, I met you because of referee Jack. He said, Terre Haute, Indiana? Couldn't believe it, Mark. Tommy has taken probably more shots to the head and to the back than anybody
with all
else.
the concussions he's had, I'm surprised he remembers.
But he literally looked at me and said, Terre Haute, Indiana. I looked at Rachel, and she was like, fuck is he talking about? I said, yes, Terre Haute, Indiana. Ever since then, I mean, I've always been a Tommy fan, but that solidified it. The fact that he could remember that one interaction over how many at that point in 20 years, okay?
Oh, probably thousands.
So, moving on. That's my Tommy story. That's why I love Tommy.
Yeah, I love your pain train anecdotes.
Yeah, I got some shit.
All right. Number 4, probably the best feud of 1996, I would say. Taker and Mankind.
Oh, man. Who thought Paul Bearer would turn on The Undertaker?
Not me. And just the fact, Mankind, I don't think anybody has more wins over Undertaker than Mankind does.
That's why I was so disappointed when Taker didn't shout him out. And I'm sure I went
think
on
it was-
purpose.
I think it was a slip of the tongue.
Just a slip. You go through all these lists, and the one glaring omission is the one everybody remembers.
Right.
You know,
Mankind
the
has
Hell
said-
in the Cell,
Yeah.
the boiler room,
Yeah.
all of the buried, all that. He did it all.
Yeah, yeah. And Mankind, for the record, has said he doesn't hold any ill will to Taker for omitting him. Because he forgot his wife in his speech.
That's what he said. I have to imagine that time period is when Mick made more money than any other time in his career.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, because he segued all that into a championship run.
Mm-hmm.
Great number 4.
Right.
Can't wait to hear the next 3.
All right,
taking selfies over there.
So my number 3 is from my personal favorite year in wrestling, which is 1997.
Clockwork Orange.
And it's WCW.
Nope.
Macho Man, Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh man.
Go
So good.
DDP.
Talk
So
about
good.
the two working men kind of
That's
champions.
That's the feud that made DDP a megastar.
I mean, I thought you were going Benoit Sullivan.
No, that was a good one, but
was a
it was a
good
little too intense for me. It was
It's
a little too
real?
It was
We still
Hey.
not sure where that one ended.
Hey, the new, by the way, new Jumping the Rail T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees back. It's real to us, damn it. Or it's real
Throwback-
to, it says it's real to me, damn it.
What a throwback to a viral video. That guy does. That's a guy we should get on the show.
Who's
he
that?
does conventions.
Who's that?
It's still real to me, damn it. The crying guy at the conventions.
Oh, that guy.
He is on my Twitter. I'm gonna reach out to him.
You ought to go for it.
I think his name's David. I'm getting on there right now.
My phone blacked out. But yeah, I mean, that's the Macho Man went out of his way to make DDP a star in that feud. He took the Diamond Cutter for a finish when it was almost unheard of for him to do it with anybody other than Hogan.
David Wills.
David Wills. Okay.
That's his name. I know a David Wills. He's related to a Steve Wills that I know.
Uh,
It's not the same.
A Mohawked Steve Wills?
Yes, they're not the same.
Okay.
But it's still real to me, damn it. That's all you have to do is search it. He's right here and does a convention circuit. If anybody has ever seen this guy gets emotional. Who was in the ring? Was it Rock and Roll Express or?
Oh, shit.
Maybe it was Cornette. I've got the video. But he feels like how we feel.
Yeah.
We still, as kids, watch and we go, wow, we know.
He's not going to sue us for using "It's Still Real to Me, Damn It," is he?
Or I'm not going to write him.
We'll see. If I get a cease and desist in the next month, then
what number are we on?
we're up to number 2.
Number 2.
And I'm going to make Dwayne very unhappy.
There it is.
He's used to it. He's used to disappointment.
Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. And I'm going to be honest, the best match I ever saw them have was not the Iron Man match from 1996 at WrestleMania. It was,
I'm not Iron Man.
Was this when he was Intercontinental Champion?
It was his first world title run. It was Bret and Shawn at Survivor Series 92.
They did a ladder match together, right?
It was on a Coliseum video.
Right.
But it was like 2 years before the one with Shawn and Razor.
Right.
But since it didn't happen on TV, it was Shawn and Razor had the first ladder match. But that's neither here nor there. But no, they always had the tension was always palpable with those two, but they made great TV out of it.
I know number 1.
I'll bet you do. Because
maybe I don't. It could be 2 things.
Is that your way of telling me to get on with it?
No, it could be 2 things. Can I guess? Or you don't want me to blow it?
Don't blow it.
It's got Steve Austin's involved.
Maybe.
Stone Cold Steve Austin or the $6 million man?
It could be a Hollywood gentleman or it could be a corporate executive. That's
Right.
it. Go ahead.
Or it could be a big-nosed, long-haired blue blood.
No, better not me.
No, it's Austin McMahon.
Thank you.
I did love the Austin Triple H feud, but it wasn't top 10.
And then they eventually teamed.
I could have put The Rock and Triple H on this top 10 list, too.
That was a feud that I remember. I wasn't as excited for it.
Those two...
Because I was so into Austin at the time.
I was a big Triple H guy, so I was down. But,
They did the SummerSlam ladder match.
Yeah. And
Triple H in the purple tights and...
Yeah, and then all the stuff like Backlash 2000.
What about Triple H and Mick?
Mender says Dusty and Flair.
That's 80s, Menders. We're talking 90s.
Mendes, did you miss the whole 90s?
Dare we?
But no, that was a great feud. That's actually probably my favorite feud ever, Dusty and Flair.
Hammer said we've got to wrap this up. We've got a post-production meeting at the local watering
to disappoint
hole.
Hammer.
No, I agree with you.
Hey, Hammer, if you can hear us now, make sure those tequilas are chilled properly.
That's right. Is there a bigger feud than Austin McMahon? The only one that you left off, and this probably isn't a realistic feud, was the NWO against WCW. But that, is that NWO against WCW?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was a feud.
I could have easily made that Hogan Sting NWO versus
Okay,
Sting.
that's fair. That's fair. Austin McMahon, yes, easily. Barry Horowitz and Chris Candido at number 11, right?
I'm sorry?
Barry and Chris at
that was
11.
That was an exciting feud, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
But he didn't want to talk about it that much, so we'll have to dig into that next time.
We didn't really bring it up, though. Yeah. We'll have to say that for part 2.
I tried. I was surprised. I thought that was his biggest time. I did not know the Mike Graham stuff.
Right.
Mike Graham's a sad story.
It really
That's
is.
one we should get into. I remember before WWE Network was a thing, it used to be like if you get on like Xfinity, they had like the on demand,
the 24/7.
Yeah. And Mike Graham was on the Legends Roundtable.
I love that show.
And then all of a sudden, it was like Mike Graham kills himself.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be heartless about it, but it kind of came out of nowhere.
The last thing I saw was when he accepted on Eddie's behalf for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he had the big picture with the NWA board meeting.
I mean, those are stories we should dig into at some point. We've never done a dark side of the podcast episode, but I think there's some stories we could really dig into. That
half our podcasts are the dark side of something.
No, we could. I
could.
think there's some episodes where we could really dig into some deeper shit.
Right.
That
some
people
negativity,
don't talk
some
about.
things people don't talk about. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that we'll have to wait for another day, gentlemen. It is about that time, and we got to get Hammer to the bar.
We gotta get hammered.
That's right.
We got to get to the bar so Hammer and us get hammered.
All right, let me get our plugs in real quick before we go, Marko. ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod. We got 7 awesome designs up for your.
We're about to have
pleasure.
47.
I'm hammering out the ideas like crazy.
I'm gonna rework. I like the tequila Narge, but I think I'm gonna rework it a little bit.
I'm
So
sorry.
we have an idea on the tequila Narge shirt.
Yeah,
we have an idea that it will be just like Sabokin.
We may have the best idea ever coming soon, though. We
like
talked about it last week. I showed it to Rachel. I showed it to Kyler.
the one that I just sent you guys
With the yes.
Yeah.
we all agree.
I need to get it
that's the
cleaned up
best
so
one.
it'll get approved.
Are we talking about the math problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's a
I
good
think
one.
that's a header on Facebook. Even there is a
that's a good
shirt
one.
coming out that will rival Austin 316. It'll outsell the NWO. Fuck Hulkamania. You hear me? Mark, don't say fuck Hulkamania.
If you like wrestling and you like
That's a
that
great
Terramana
shirt. That's a great shirt.
and you like the podcast, you're gonna love the shirt.
Yes.
But so yeah, Pro Wrestling Tees /JTR Pod, Twitter at JTR Pod, Instagram at Jumping the Rail, Facebook here on the Facebook page, and
I got to do better on the jumping the rail. I haven't, or the Instagram. I haven't been on since March.
yeah, you're our Instagram guy. I'm our Twitter guy. But huge thank you to Barry Horowitz for sitting down with us.
That was a great conversation.
Great, and like I said, we'll have him back for part 2. Thanks everybody for listening and put questions in. For Marko, for Narge, shout out to Keith Gibson. We'll have you on soon, I promise.
Mo money.
Mo money. And so this is Redmond, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks with Camaro Jackson. Later.